Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It is another wonderful Sunday here on Praxcore Thesmophoria. Welcome to this channel. I am your friendly neighborhood Prax, here for another Sunday of Carousel Court, our Southern Gothic Urban Fantasy campaign, uh, where I am meshing two very different systems into a lot of fun. We're going to go around, let people introduce themselves. We will have a trooper. There's just some technical delays. He'll be joining us shortly. So why don't we start with PB? Hello. Welcome
Hi.
back.
Hi. I am PB. Today I'm playing Ro Walters, who is he's an I remember this game. An Incubus, who has a beautiful wife and struggling with the HOA, but you know what? He's making his money. He's paying the mortgage. That's all that matters.
That is
And
indeed
Rose is he,
all.
him pronouns.
That is indeed all that matters. Okay, PB. Yep, that's possible. Is that better? PB, talk now.
Hey, hello, Tess. Am I better?
How's
Am I
that now?
louder?
Give it 30 seconds.
Oh, true. We just sit here.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Okay.
It's like, you sound
Thank
great to
you.
me.
All right, so Lindy, you get the first bonus die. For those of you
Ooh.
playing at home, you can use channel points to donate up to 3 bonus die per session per player. And you just need to let me know who needs that bonus die. And I need to turn these off. There we go. Yes, so that's PB and the Walters family, and then directly below PB on the overlay we have Pope. Hey Pope, welcome back.
Hey, great to be here. Great to be back with Carousel Court playing Dr. Mercer Blackthorn, both of us using him pronouns. There's a number of elections this year. It's kind of important to find out who wins and who loses.
It is indeed very important to find out who will win and who may lose. But we'll find out. Next up, we have. Thank you, everybody. The fabulous Lindy, who also has a friend joining
Yes.
her.
Tesla says hello, everybody. I say hello as well. Hi, I was not feeling well last week, but I'm here this week and, not puking my guts up. So it's an improvement. So, yeah, hi, I'm Lindy, Laugh Love Lindy, and I will be playing Opal Ardeline, who's just a nice, completely normal Southern girl, just, doing her best for her family. Would you settle?
I'm sure that is true. Oh,
It's,
I missed
yeah,
one.
very
I missed one
nice.
for Lynn. I'm sorry.
Just looking for love, looking for.
In all the wrong places?
Well, I certainly hope not.
We'll find out. And then last right now, but certainly never least, hello Lynn. How are you?
Hey, good to be here, be able to play with everyone in this, just this pit of entry we have in this neighborhood. But I'm Lynn, she, they, and today I am playing Jae-hoon Kwon, he, him, professor, just looking out for, just trying to get the lay of the land here, see what is under the surface, and also probably tied up having kids who, are magically inclined going to school. They've between last episode and this episode, they are now in school now, so fun times.
It is indeed fun times, and the education system in 1948 will be very interesting. I'm going to wait like 30 seconds because I have just received confirmation that we will have a trooper in the next 30 seconds. So we'll just let him pop on in and then we can let him introduce himself and I can give you all of the other wonderful details. However, I do have a question for the Ardeline family because you were not able to join us for
Very sadly. I was so sad.
I was very sad that you were also unable to join us. I know exactly how excited you were for this. Hello, Trooper.
It's been a week. Yes, what question have you for the delightful, completely normal, sunshine and garlic family that is the Ardelines?
I just need to know if you,
Yes.
Opal,
Yes.
are staying the age you would be in 1948, or are you going back to the age you would have been in 1945 based on playtime?
That is a good question. I think I'm still a young adult.
Yeah, still a
it's
young
been
adult,
3
but
years, right?
Yeah, so it'd be 20.
Yeah, I don't think there was much difference between young.
I wouldn't
adult
worry
and
about
new
mechanics,
adult.
I'm just worried about the age number. That's all.
Oh, then I'm probably just still a young adult then, because
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
So 20 is fine. Good to know. Hi, Trooper.
I probably look like I'm like 18, 19 though. Just
Yeah, but it's...
the aging's starting to slow down a little bit, weirdly enough. It's good
Look,
genetics.
there are a lot of people who have very good genes, and, you know...
Yeah,
reasons.
and these Levi's are great, but not sponsored.
Hashtag not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. Hey, Trooper. We just need you to introduce yourself and who are you playing and all of those good things.
Hi, I'm Trooper SJP. Pew, 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 pew. It is very hot and humid here, and that was not so great for our power plant. And I am playing the Musgrove family. Currently, I'm in the skin of Peter Musgrove. They are a local family who is dad's the family doctor and also dishonorable and terrible. And people should not hang out with him because he was a conscious objector during World War II. Shameful business, that. And that's who I'm playing. Ta-da.
Indeed. Indeed. Lots of things have been going on. But it is 1948. This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Channel. At the tone, the hour will be 6 p.m. Bum, bum, bum. Here are the headlines for today, July 29th, 1948. At precisely 2 p.m. local time, London Army bands began playing, and at 2:35 p.m., His Royal Majesty King George VI announced the opening ceremonies for the Summer Olympic Games of the 16th Olympiad. 300 of our finest American athletes will be competing, along with 58 other countries across 19 sporting events. However, these ceremonies were not without commentary. The nations of Germany and Japan were not invited to this first Summer Olympics since 1936. The Russian Federation was sent an invitation, but the mists still have not receded, and no one naturally knows what's going on behind those misty borders to the east. Drawing further commentary, the International Olympic Committee has denied the admittance of participants from Israel. Additionally, there have been moves and protests about the admittance of others as participants in the sporting events, a proposal that has been put forward for an other-only Olympics. NBC will be bringing you all of the highlights of the Olympics as they occur. A second referendum has been called in the Dominion of Newfoundland, originally scheduled to be held on the 22nd of July. The referendum was postponed when the Dominion of Newfoundland recognized the indigenous others as voting members of the Dominion. Representatives of both the Shifters and the Selkies have stated a desire to remain independent of the control of the country of Canada and reject the authority of the King of England. When the results for the next referendum are announced, of course, NBC will be bringing you all of the news from our neighbors to the north. And lastly, for today's headlines, President Roosevelt has announced that he will not be running for re-election, and that he fully endorses his Vice President, Harry S. Truman, for president. The other candidates running against Mr. Truman are Mr. Thomas E. Dewey, Mr. Strom Thurmond, and Mr. Henry Wallace. Both Pete Seeger and Paul Robeson have come out in support of the anti-segregationalist and pro-other Henry Wallace. With an actual third-party candidate upon the ballot, this is shaping up to be a very intriguing election cycle. Stay tuned to NBC for all of your election and candidate news. This has been the NBC Evening Report. 6 p.m., July 29th. It's hot and muggy. Those of you who are in some of the newer built homes in the subdivision are engaging in this brand new technology of an attic fan. One of the best things in the world for a post-war bungalow. Just suck all that hot air up and on out. Circulation is great. If you can afford one. Or if you have one. Most of the newer houses are all being built with one right installed. It's well, not really pleasant. I mean, it's really not pleasant. You could cut the humidity with a knife. Stepping outside your door, if you have any bit of curl in your hair, it's gonna go frizz right on up. And the mosquitoes this year, well, they're mighty aggressive. But we had some elections recently in the for the head of the HOA. The Lafayettes won again, even against the newcomers, the Smiths. They are on the other side of the court. The Smiths are very well, she's very involved in the Southern Baptist Women's Choir and the prayer group, and has on occasion encouraged others to perhaps find salvation by joining their church. Mind you, she doesn't always invite others to her church. As for the current president of the country club, Dr. Brian Fouché managed to win that seat. He is a PhD in chemistry, by the way. Fine, upstanding gentleman. He and his wife are originally from Chicago, but they are originally from Chicago, but they have been here and doing some work in the... Why is I not being able to find my commands? He has been doing some work for the university, and in doing some very interesting new research into pesticides and crop management, particularly in avoiding aggressive pesticides. And well, you know how things are. Certain others have been protesting loudly the use of aggressive chemicals. Okay. But his wife hosts a book club and invites a large number of ladies, both from Carousel Court and from the AME church in town. For those of you who don't know, that's the Black American Methodists. They are very large, very nice church ladies, and their hats game is on point. Always have the best
game's
hats.
always on point, even to this day. Like, just
always true.
they don't play with the hat game.
No, they do not play with the hat game. And then lastly, For the PTA, we have. It was a very close race, but Aries Solano won over Carmelina Hall. Carmelina ended up being voted secretary, anyways. Mostly because there was no one else who was willing to do it when they had asked for somebody to stand for elections. But I guess the question is, what are y'all doing this hot July evening? Why don't we start with people who weren't here last week? So what is, yes, 6 o'clock in the evening, sun is still brightly shining,
Mm-hmm.
but you can hear the crickets and the frogs. What is
I
going on at
think-
the? Well, I guess the first question is, what does the auto, if as the camera pans into around the little cul-de-sac that is officially called Carousel Court, what does the Audeline home look like?
Oh, yes. The Ardeline home, it's a beautiful, probably a little bit of older style home. Nice wraparound front porch. It's you know how those houses have the crawl space? This has a very large crawl space. A good sized crawl space. So it's raised up a good bit. Which is good in case of any flooding. Oh, I have my arm back, thank God. And it's just a well kept, slightly above average home. You know, the colors are nice. They got the haint blue front porch ceiling. You know, a nice double wide front door, easy to move in, furniture in and out. You know, if you're redecorating. 2 stories plus an attic. Good sized home. There's probably some guest rooms there should people need to stay the night, though not a lot of people come and go from the Arlene house. They're pretty quiet. They keep to themselves a lot, you know. It's the 2 youngest of the family, Opal and her twin brother Oliver. They're seen a little bit more frequently hanging out on the front porch and, you know, going about their business. But yeah, it's just a nice, good, fenced in backyard, tall fence. Probably some hedges as well around the fence and backyard. They like their privacy, you know. Lots of gardens, beautiful garden beds that are changed out seasonally, if not a little more often than that. They're just very well maintained. Always yard work going on. Usually a shovel easily found on the premises. Wheelbarrow.
Well, it is important.
Lots of trees. Very shady.
It's very difficult to win the garden show competition if you're not actively engaged in
Exactly.
maintaining your property every day. I mean,
Especially since shade-loving plants are a little bit harder to maintenance, you know, because there's a lot of trees on this property and providing a lot of shade. Because they help keep the house cooler, you know.
yes, it does.
Yeah.
But who do we find? What do we find as we pan up the steps onto this
well,
front porch?
Let's see, what is it, like a weekday or like a weekend?
Ooh, I had this in July.
It's Thursday.
It's Thursday. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Thursday.
So since it's a weekday, Opal's probably it's like 6 o'clock on a weekday. She's probably getting home from work. She works as a secretary.
Where does she work? Well, what does Opal look like?
Oh, she's as cute as a button. She looks really similar to her twin brother. So just imagine a more masculine version of Opal, and that's Oliver. Opal is about a little under average height. Her brother's like a couple inches taller. It's like 5. See, it's a 40s, so like 5'3", 5'4", maybe. She's got long, wavy, dark brown, almost black hair. She usually keeps it styled up on her weekdays to get it out of her face, presentable for work. Often wears very bright colors, lean, slender build. But looks like maybe she does some sporty activities because she looks pretty fit. Dark brown eyes. Just kind of just a cute little southern girl. A little pale. A little pale. Has to wear a sun hat if, going out in broad daylight a little bit, just because she'll burn.
I mean, there are a number of people in this subdivision that will definitely burn if they look at the sun. I mean, Nora Hall, Hazel Grimes.
Yeah, I mean, if you're pasting in the south, you're going to burn in the sun. I know this well. So yeah, just has a sun hat. Yeah, wears a lot of bright, cheerful colors. Very polite. Just carries herself with a good posture. Looks like she probably had a lot of dance lessons growing up. Just a regular. Oh, and wears glasses.
Well, this is Opal Ardeline coming home.
She probably got a little like purse, briefcase thing, one of those little small ones that or just you could hold a few files and some pieces of paper, not like a whole heck a lot of work, but just a few papers and things she could have in there.
May I ask a question?
No. Yes, you can.
Are you driving home, bicycling home, walking home?
But I think she'd actually bicycle home. She seems like she feels like a bicycle-y girl.
Which direction are you bicycling? I.e., what road are you taking, and from which direction are you going?
I'm going to interject on this one. Everybody's coming from the west.
Okay, I was like, I don't like lot 18, so my family avoids that route.
Well, unfortunately,
I'm afraid it looks like you can't.
You can if you choose to go all the way around, go north, south, and then west. But the reality is, right now to your east is the swamp. Well, no, it's a swamp delta of the Savannah River.
That's good to know for no reason in particular.
Yeah, it's about the only thing east of this subdivision is the warehouse or some warehouses.
I just ride on the other
itself.
side of the street from lot 18, if that makes sense. I ride my bicycle on that side, which is technically, if you're riding a bicycle, the correct side to ride on anyways.
Yes, of course.
But yes, she just rides in from the downtown. Little bicycle. She's got her like little purse and the basket. She's got a big basket on the front, so she can do any errands. There might be like a few things for dinner in there as well. She picked up some shopping on the way in. Some produce, things that go bad quickly. She's a very good daughter who does good family things. She probably have like a paper bag and her briefcase and put the bicycle leaning against the porch.
Where do you work as a secretary? I just want to know for whom you work.
At a lawyer's office.
A very nice lawyer. So as we follow Opal bicycling her way down the street,
I'm proficient with typewriter, so it's very helpful to I do a lot of transcribing.
As we follow her down Forest Drive, avoiding number 18 Forest Drive, she'll pass by the Solano house. You can smell chilies and garlic and onions and...
I love chilies and garlic and onions.
Some very nice, very smooth, hold please, I need to pull up the Perry Cuomo coming out of the windows that are open in front of the Solanos. They are, as you continue down, you would see across the camera pans across the street to the Walters, and Ro, it's 6 o'clock. What are you doing?
Because of the event beginning today, we took the day off of work. So the store was not open today, so we've been spending the time at home. We sat there and we listen.
Well,
Listen?
here's a very important question. Are you in a financial position where you can afford to buy yourself a television? Technically, it exists. They are available. They are expensive as fuck.
My family definitely has one, but we don't advertise it.
I imagine so do the Blackthorns.
No, we actually do not possess television.
We have a lot of shut-ins in our house. Television's entertainment.
We we have a very nice radio and a number of other music producing devices.
Yes, the radio is the most common thing that everyone kind of owns. You can have small tabletop radios, larger Victrolas, which include both a radio and a speaker system, and the turntable. They're basically pieces of furniture. They're very nice.
I'm sorry, that really tickled me. We don't advertise it.
A lot of people have a TV. They're like, "Oh, we got a television." You know, we just bought one. We didn't say anything about it. Brag.
Let's see. I mean, we are in the financial position to own a TV, and I guess technically, we work in like a pawn business, so we do have like our fingers at the pulse a little bit, and we might be able to get a deal on it. So yeah, I'd say we own one. In fact, I'd say not only do we own a TV, I think if the Olympics are being televised or like anything like that, we would have like a small party and invite our friends over to watch.
Well, fun fact.
We do advertise it.
So it would have been 8 o'clock in the morning when they started the events, or well, give or take. And the events of themselves were not currently planned to be televised. However, the opening ceremonies and all of the major events will eventually be recorded and broadcast on Technicolor newsreel.
Oh my gosh.
So the opening ceremonies are not live televised. They're a delay. So you would have probably gotten them about like 2 p.m. your local time. So it would be 6 hours after they were aired. So
like bold of you to think that I understand how time differences work. That is live for me, baby. That is 2 p.m. That is perfect. They are recording that right now live. I'm like, honey, they are showing the Olympics live tonight. Let's watch it. Honestly, that's probably why we bought the TV for the Olympics specifically.
I could see it. It is 1948. They are very brand new. You are not seeing anything in color, by the way. It is a very small screen. It is in black and white. It is a beautiful piece of hardwood, though. It takes
It's
up
like
a little bit of
moving
space.
pictures, real people. That's mind blowing. Are you kidding me? But 2 p.m. So if they started at 2 p.m. So around, what did you say? It was around 8 p.m.?
Yeah, it's around 6 o'clock. And the NBC News Hour just finished on the radio. So maybe 6:10, 6:15. Opal is muted, so...
If it was 2 p.m. UK, it'd be 7 p.m. Georgia time. So that's the time zone difference.
No, it would be 2 p.m. would be 8 a.m.
Oh, you're doing from 8 a.m. Sorry, I thought we were converting it from 2 p.m. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, because if it's 2 p.m. London time, then it's 8 p.m.
7
UK
p.m.
time. Or 7.
If at Georgia time, because Eastern is only 5-hour difference.
Yeah.
So it'd be 9 a.m.
It would be 9 a.m.
Mhm.
Is when it was. So
Oh.
when it was 2 p.m. in London and they first started, it would have been 9 a.m. local time. And they probably had an NBC News announcement to give you the BBC radio. They had a syndication. There were a number of radio people who were there who were giving you live commentary just like they would any sporting event, like the football or the baseball game. And Millie. But now it's 2 p.m. local time, so it's 7 p.m. in the UK, and they're showing on the TV what was the opening ceremonies. And then over the week, there'll be a bunch of newsreels that'll be at the movie theaters that you can go and see that are going to be in Technicolor with all of the games, but those will be like a week, 24 hours, 48 hours delay.
Who's
Give or
my
take.
presidential candidate that's gonna do away with time differences? Because they've got my vote.
Like, I'm not as pissed about time differences as I am about daylight savings.
You know what? Let's 2 and 1. We might as well get rid of it at the
guess
same
what?
time.
Guess what? Your very good friend FDR brought into effect daylight savings time.
Look, we can't all be perfect. What was I gonna say?
Oh, yeah,
okay, so go ahead. Oh man. Okay, so
It is
all
currently
of that
6 p.m.
said,
It's 6:15.
so we did like early or late lunch at my house to watch the beginning of the opening ceremony.
Mhm.
And then with my buddies, the Kwans, and oh Trooper, I don't remember the last name of your character.
Musgrove.
Musgroves. And how are the Grimes doing? How are they
That is
over these
indeed
past 3 years?
a question. Hazel Grimes has had their first child and is about 2.5 now.
Oh wow, they were
Pretty
fast.
girl who looks very similar to her mama. Bright red hair, dark green eyes.
And
If you want to know anything else about them, you might have to make some rolls for it.
sure. I feel like we were friendly at the end of the last thing, so I assume maybe we struck up a friendship. Sure. What do I need to roll?
This is a. Hold on, I need to make sure I have the right things. There are going to be 2 different roles, and we're going to do one of my favorite things that I've adapted from basically. I stole from the interlock system and are basically using it in every single game I ever can because it makes sense to me. Is complementary skill checks. So if you do well on the first skill check, it will give you a bonus to the important second skill check. Yes, Krellin. Hazel Grimes wore pants to the neighborhood cookout in 1945, which wasn't quite as scandalous as some might say because it is 1945 and the war was still going on.
40s. Yeah.
Wasn't scandalous at the time.
That said, it was still illegal in France to wear pants. They didn't repeal that law until just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, but that's France, and really, y'all are in Savannah, and who cares about France? They're French,
The real reason the Lafayette's left.
among others.
Pants.
Pants. And
So,
pockets, most importantly.
What I think here is your first roll is going to be awareness empathy.
Okay. Oh,
Kind of
athletics?
how
Oh,
you're
that's gonna work.
you're kind of friendly making, see how you do, and then
17.
ooh, very nice. So out of this, you should be. With that, I'm going to give you a free bonus die for persuasion charm to make yourselves friends with the Grimes.
Oh, bonus die? Okay, hold on. Oh god, I'm having dexterity feelings all over again.
Mhm.
Oh god, where did I write the stuff of my character? All right. There's something about people feeling attractive, giving you an advantage in interactions. Whenever you roll to the test charm or intrigue. I don't know. I don't think that would. Oh, you tell me.
What is it?
It is so. It is my, what is it called? Attributes in this game.
Yes.
I chose blooded to be on, aka attractive with it.
Yep.
So that there's something that people find attractive in you, giving you advantage in interactions. Whenever you roll a test to charm or seduce in an intrigue, you may reroll a number of ones equal to half your persuasion rank.
I would say that even though this is technically not an intrigue, it will still be allowed because the assumption is like you had done, and we're basically backfilling the intrigue into the 3 years it's been here since.
Okay.
So if you can roll persuasion charm, and then if you get any ones that are rolled in that roll, you can re-roll them equal to half of the value that's in your persuasion.
Okay. So that would be 2.
The large number, not the small number. Ooh, a 19.
Didn't roll any ones.
You didn't roll any ones. But 19 is an epic success. It's very, very good. So you and the Walters and the Grimes have become very good friends. And I think it was I think David may have eventually come to you about a year and a half ago, just after their little girl turned a year old. And he was upset and definitely looking for someone to have a drink with and maybe a conversation. Because it's still 1948, and as much things have changed, a gentleman, any gentleman in general, going to see a therapist was not going to be big on everybody's to-do list, and definitely not somebody coming out in the army or any of the military services for a number of reasons. Instead, he may have come and had a conversation with you. And I think this conversation probably took place on the back section of your property between you and he and a bottle of shine. Well, no, a couple jars of shine. Because it is Savannah. And good shine should never be drunk out of glass. It should only be drunk out of a mason jar. It adds value and texture. And he would have been the one to express question about his, well, he had a small question about how to, he and his wife had been newly married, and then she got pregnant, and there was this issue that they're trying to deal with, and you've been married for a while. How do you, deal with marital strife? And he's very much dancing around the question. You don't even, you have a 19 epic success. You are very aware of what he's doing. He's dancing around an issue. Did you ever push him on it?
Yeah, I think gently, not in so much just, directly being, all right, like, tell me what's really going on, but rather in that, like, Southern way where you kind of say what you mean, but, like, talk around it at the same time. And with, like, I'm opening up if you want to tell me. I'm not going to force the issue, but, I'm I've got an open ear if you got something big to say. It's a judge-free zone sort of vibes.
I think it might take him a couple jars to get to this point where he will mention that he had a panic. He had been watching the baby by himself. Hazel had gone out to do some errands. He took his little girl, to the river, and everything was fine except she fell in, and he was all panicked about everything. But she was absolutely fine, and then she turned into a seal.
The visual really got me on that one.
And he's like, how do I have this conversation with my wife? Because, I think maybe that's and he's like, do I not talk about it? Do we just leave that alone?
Probably. Well, I'll say one thing is that whenever it's come to any issue between my wife and I've always found it that the issue gets resolved the fastest, or answers come out when we sit down at our table, coffee in hand, and we just have a conversation about it. Sometimes things get a little heated, for good or bad, and when that happens, we just walk away from each other for a while. I'll go outside and I'll work a little on the house, get some frustrations out, and my wife will bang about inside the house. I don't ask questions. And once we both feel like we've cooled down a little bit, we come back in and we sit back down and we have a conversation. And that is now, while I'm sure that was a mighty fright, and not the way probably your wife wanted you to find out such things, but I'm sure she had her reasons. She had her fears, the same fears you may have right now. I'd say we finish off this jar, you go home, sleep it off, wake up with a mighty headache, and then in the afternoon, if you're feeling up to it, sit down and talk to your wife, and remember, you love your wife. And that's the most important thing. No matter what happens, no matter what comes out, no matter the reasons for anything, you love her and she loves you. And that has been apparent since the first time I met you two, so I think that would be my advice.
He will take that advice. It'll be a couple more months before another conversation had on your back of your property with a couple jars. We'll have a very informed point to let you know that he appreciated your advice. It worked very well, and he requests assistance in protecting something.
Well, all right. If I can, I'll help you. Absolutely.
And in exchange, you will gain one favor that you can spend with the Grimes family in perpetuity, anytime you want.
I'm down. Anything for a friend?
He will hand you a small package wrapped in paper, brown paper, sealed with twine, and the twine is sealed with like wax at the tie.
Mm-hmm.
And he just says, if you could just protect this for me, I'd really appreciate it. Keep it safe.
Now, I don't need to know what's inside this package. I'm happy to keep it and protect it for you. However, with the history of my family, I just have to ask, is this a consecrated item? Is this
Oh, no,
is this
whatsoever.
okay, that's all I had to know.
You can attempt to figure out what's in the package without opening it if you want.
I think when like he leaves, I'll do like a subtle present under the Christmas tree where I'll just do like a little shake to see if I hear anything, but I won't investigate too hard. Just, is this fragile? Should I? Or I'll also ask that, is this fragile? And I'll like shake it, just so I know when I'm placing
Not-
it in somewhere.
Not per se, but definitely important to be protected.
Okay, just I don't want to like accidentally break some glass. All right, no, that's perfectly fine. And yeah, I'll do like a little shake, and if like I hear things moving, or a jingle, I'll be like, "Ooh." But aside from that, I won't look farther into it.
Well, if you want
I
to
trust Mr. Grabs.
you can roll awareness notice on it if you want.
Sure will.
I'm going to say that it is without doing. But with a 23, it doesn't matter what I was about to say. Curiosity. Well, shit, yo.
Where were these rolls for you in character creation?
Look, sometimes you really have to stack some of your skills to make up for some unfortunate other rolling.
Yes. It's not the it's a brown paper box with brown paper around it, the twine, the seal, but it's the slight hint of salt water and the barest as it shifts in the box. And you are more than you would place good money that Mr. Grimes asked you to keep safe a particular item of a particular type of fey shifter of a very nice fur, one might say. And that in no way, shape, or form is consecrated in any way.
That's honestly the most important part of it all. Because Mr. Walters is always outside, always working on the house. Even though it may not seem like it, he is always trying to work on that house. And where Mr. Walters will hide that item is the same way his grandfather did, and he's gonna bury it somewhere in the backyard. It's the Walters way.
It's a good burying things in the backyard that you don't want people to find is a very solid method of finding things.
You know what? I might even like go over and like I ask to borrow your shovel. Be like, oh, I've seen you guys have a shovel.
Okay, you need to borrow one?
Yeah. I'm doing some yard work.
Need help digging
thank
anything?
you so much. It's no, just digging up some holes to put in some fence posts. You know how it is.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know how it is. Just hold on to that as long as you need to.
All right,
You got a spare.
Well, we have many shovels.
She opens the shed, it's just shovels.
There's a lot of shovels. Oddly enough, no fertilizer though. Weird.
Weird.
So instead of the Texas family with the hidden guns throughout the house, it's just shovels.
Look, sometimes you gotta bury things.
It's like you asked
quickly.
it's like
And you don't need to be going, where's the shovel? No, you should have extras. Look, I myself own 3 shovels, so I don't think it's. Look, you've got the trenching shovel, you've got the square spade shovel, you got the
One was
you
passed
cannot have too
down.
many shovels. Okay, it'd be difficult.
So as the camera follows Opal on July 29th, 1948, 6:15 in the evening, down past the Grimes and the Halls and the Eldridges, she's going to make her little loop up around the Eldridges by the Gwillams. What is the Gwillams doing this evening?
Mercer is performing his 4th surgery of the day. this time
Oh.
on the car.
Oh. I was about to ask if you had set up a surgery in the house. I mean, it would be entirely acceptable, but if it's only on the automobile, one must ask what kind of automobile you own.
It's a 1947 Cadillac, black, in chrome.
What happened to the car?
Uh, More than likely, with the tune-up at the family shop, um, there's back pressure within the hydraulics that needs to be drained.
Mm, mm. So Gwillem is out in the driveway working on the car as Opal rides on by.
Evening, miss.
Oh, good evening. Uh, your car all right?
It will be once I take the time.
All right, well, just let me know if you need a hand with anything. I'm just gonna be, on the front porch doing some reading for a little bit, enjoying the last little bit of daylight.
We'll have 2 hours left.
She'll, park the bike, give the shovel, probably get the book, and probably just kick up on the front porch and, get that breeze that is not had within the house at this moment. Do some reading, be in there in case the neighbor needs anything, in case the car falls on him and we have to, do emergency medical attention or report a death or something. Like, cars fall on people all the time. It's a concern I have when I change the oil.
I mean, this leads to a very important question. If you're playing with the brakes and the hydraulics, do you have the car on a lift?
I
Is
have
it
it.
jacked, or
It's
are
at
you
least
underneath
jacked
it?
up.
It is thoroughly jacked and on blocks.
Uh-huh.
Wait, time out. Y'all have a Cadillac on blocks in your front yard?
For right now. Hopefully, it'll be in the garage here in a moment.
Make a note.
Just here in case you need someone to hand him wrenches or spanners or, anything. Just read.
Everybody just timing how long this car sits out here. It's gonna be a problem if it's out here more than
I'm not timing it. I'm maybe making note of the time, but I'm not. The car has to get fixed. To get fixed sooner if he needs help, and help is readily available.
Mm-hmm.
Though it is interesting just how many mechanics tools are in the garage.
You seem like a car guy. Not that worried about it. Like, some people might be concerned about how many shovels we have in our shed. Like, it's to each their own.
And as Opal sets up on her front porch, the camera pans down
Glass of sweet
beyond
tea.
nice glass of sweet tea, down beyond the Passe family home, which is still dark. There's no car in the drive. They might not be home yet. To the Quans. What do we find going on at the Quans at 6:15 on a Thursday, July 29th?
I mean, things are at the moment tense. It's 6 p.m. We've gotten eating, and it's time for Youngja is 8, and that's usually when our talents usually appear, and you need to realize I need to teach my daughter about this stuff. And you know what it's like? It's not fun magic. It's like getting another course in math and philosophy at the same time to an 8-year-old. 8-year who just wants to really just have fun, has been in school for most of the day and has to come home after dinner, more homework, and more studying for this.
Now, to be fair, it is in July, and so it's summer break. There isn't a lot of
Yeah.
schoolwork being done.
Oh, yeah, that's right. But
But
still, but now it's magic school, not the fun. It is one-on-one professor time at home. It's fun.
I have to ask you to make a roll
Yes.
because I'm feeling this. I need you to roll knowledge education to see how good Joan is at teaching his daughter at home, who is an 8-year-old and not a
There's cool stuff that happens during the summer, you know?
college
There's a lot of
student.
cool things that happen during the summer. All right, let's.
Fireflies are out. Well, not yet, but almost.
Can there be a penalty dice because she like unwilling child?
If you want to take a penalty dice, I'll allow it.
Or like I think she just has strong enough that like everyone else doesn't have to do this. Why do I have to? Oh, geez. 25.
And you still rolled a 25 with
Nice.
a penalty dice. Oh, it's because you crit.
That's
Very good roll. As mostly whiny as your daughter is about having to do this on a Thursday in the summer in the evening, there's just a little bit of her that likes it so much that, and your ability to teach has found that little bit of her that likes this philosophy and mathematics and how that connects to the wider world. And now she's questioning, and going forward, anytime you need to your daughter will always have a specialty dice, bonus dice in well, your magical traditions.
excellent. Although it probably wasn't easy, so I imagine that Jacqueline probably just like at the end of the thing, just like once it just sits in the backyard with like a beer, just like decompressing of having to like fight with his daughter, basically.
I think the camera pans as that you finally lean back with that beer. Unfortunately, not a course. Can't get them across the Rockies right now. And the camera's gonna pan across your yard into the Musgroves. Have y'all ever put up a fence between your yards?
No?
What?
A fence? No. If there were a fence, then they couldn't go and use our swing set
You could have put a gate in
as
it.
easily. Seems like extra time. Not necessary.
So what do we find going on at the Musgroves at 6:15
Well-
p.m. as we see June leaning back with the beer?
Well, that house would be completely empty and dark because we have been invited over to the Walters to listen to the radio. Oh, I'm sorry, they have a television
Oh, that's
for
right.
the Olympics. So we would be over at the Walters, myself, my wife, my 2 children, marveling at their televisual set.
It's real tiny.
I imagine it's quite large since we've never seen these things before. It's like, it's the
Oh
we're
no,
not
no.
comparing it to
Everybody can tell that the case and the device is very large, but the screen is tiny. I should.
I would just note that I do not think that at the time they would have thought of it as tiny because because the larger screens don't yet exist. That is like the biggest screen one could get at the time. So it's impressive.
Yes, I
You
would
know,
also like to point out that you could have gotten the combination one with the radio and the television built in. But the RCA Victor has a very nice one, actually. Um, nice cabinetry and everything. But there are two major programs that everybody is thrilled that are now available on the television as of 1948. The gentleman himself has begun a program on the TV that guarantees that everybody, no matter where they are, will be watching at 7 o'clock in the evening. And that is The Ed Sullivan Show begins airing in 1948. Welcome to American. So,
when did it begin?
The Ed Sullivan Show?
Yes, but
starts-
what month?
Do, 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 do.
June 20th.
June 20th. I was like, it's June. So the first episode airs on CBS in June 20th, 1948.
I have brought my cards, and if they wish to play bridge, we four could play bridge while the television is going. And you two do not have any children as of yet. Is that correct? Or do you have children now? Well, then our
No.
girls will be running about, you know, coloring books and whatnot. So, Ro, how are those? How is that land treating you, your family?
It is treating us very well. It has brought much good fortune to the family. Feels good
Oh,
to be
good.
out there, working the land every now and then. In fact, we just finished doing peanuts. What is it, like 2-3 months ago? I think now. So they should be coming in a couple of months.
Oh, that's
and,
good to
you can
hear. That's good to hear.
Definitely expect some coming your way here soon.
Oh, good. Your house still under construction.
Oh, tell me about it. There's just not enough time in the day. Between
Well,
the shop in town and the fields and the trees, the orchard, there's just not enough time.
have those contractors gotten back to you, or did they? I know the last group of contractors you had some sort of bad luck.
It's don't be silly. You know I don't believe in contractors. Anything they can do, I can do better.
That might have been the bad luck they had. Nonetheless, by the way, what is your wife's name?
Linda.
Linda.
Linda. No,
Does
because
she
I made
laugh?
sure
Does
not
she
to make it
love?
Lindy.
Does she
It's
also
Linda? Linda, yeah.
I hope everything is doing well for you.
Are you talking to Linda?
I want to be polite. I hope everything is doing well with you.
Indeed. It's been quite lovely. I'm thinking we might do some container planting next year, right around here. And she kind of like gestures right outside the window, like around the property. I think, Nadia, I love you, darling. You are not the best gardener. A real good planter, but not the best gardener.
Well, I think neither one of us will be in the running for the Garden Club, Garden Award, whatever it is they have going on. So any sort of garden, I imagine, is going to be beautiful and wonderful.
There's a pause.
Unless you want to be running about with them hoity-toity rich people on the hill.
It's like, I mean, they did lend me a shovel. Had a shed of shovels. I don't know if you've ever been over and seen the Ardelians'
No.
garden. Yeah, they have a shed full of shovels. Most curious thing, I asked to borrow their shovel because I know they do a lot of work outside, and I was just honestly told to keep the shovel.
Well, that's
You can
odd.
spare one.
Yeah, I think it's spare one. It was the oddest thing. Don't know why.
Huh.
I mean, I guess it is a large family. They must all have a, a penchant for shovels, I guess.
And
Oh.
they engage in their gardening, and it's real hard to lose at something if you never participate. And if you're going to participate, you need to put in the work, which is why I'm saying we need a nice row of containers right out here on the patio right here. We can do some geraniums, some nice little miniature rose bushes. I heard about this real nice thing called kudzu.
There's some sort of a kudzu appreciation society, I think. I I think the Blackwells might be the president of the Kudzu Association. Or maybe is it the Otterlands? One of them, I think, has got a member of the Kudzu Appreciation Society, I think. One of them, I think, is spearheading kudzu in our area. Don't know much more about it than that, though. It must be bet it's the Blackthorns. They seem like the sort of folk who would have something to do with a plant like the kudzu.
I was also thinking that perhaps we get ourselves a nice miniature. Have you seen them? Oh, Trooper, what's your wife's name again?
Nelly.
Nelly. Have you seen them? And Nelly, have you seen those nice miniature, like weeping Japanese maples? The ornamental ones.
All that sort of thing is all quite expensive.
Well, not that much. And if you spend the time and invest in it properly, it'll last you a good long while. And then you can put a nice little small one in the front yard.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that for this house, the structure might be a bit more important than geraniums, although Ro, what do you think?
I agree with my wife. I think it might look nice.
Hmm.
I have a very important question here, PB.
Yep.
Do you actually agree with your wife?
Is it not agreeing or agreeing when you have no real opinion on the matter?
Okay, so you're not trying to deceive her, is my point.
No, absolutely. I would never. God, I would never.
TB, what is your HOA rating right now? Because I know that changed since last week. It's a 0. So take that car off them bricks. Your property is an eyesore. Yeah. Yes.
And you're turning down the opportunity to have geraniums that might put a little bit of a nicer. Your wife then well, maybe not geraniums. How about some bougainvillea? I think bougainvillea look absolutely gorgeous.
Well, I'm bidding 3, by the way. Oh, what's that?
Nelly kicks you under the table.
Do you want me to bid 4?
3. And she just kind of like does that like that very aggressive like taking a card.
And how's the practice going there, Mr. Musgrove?
Oh, well, it's still quite slow. Everybody would still prefer to go to the Blackthorns for their surgical excitement, I suppose. Not many patients as of yet. It's been 3 years. It's still quite slow going. Just 1 or 2. We all have to tighten our belts and not spend our money on extravagances if we want to keep everything going the way they need to go.
It's like, now I'm sure that'll keep getting better. More people move into the neighborhood. More people will be interested in the small family man as opposed to a conglomerate like the Blackthorns.
Well, so many people are very focused on appearances and all of that. The rich get rich and the poor stay poor. There's issues of class in this area, and some people wish to. Some people, well, they put on airs, and it's better for their highfalutin sort of put upons to hang about with the rich corporate elite, as it were.
Oh, it's
And then with the
definitely an
common
issue.
man. Indeed. Indeed. Well,
Huh.
I hope we might get a few more families of the working variety, and imagine they'll be the ones who might be coming to my practice. But shall see, we shall see. How
Absolutely.
have you heard any news about how all of them are doing in there? I mean, I try to stay out of that sort of business myself, but we haven't had any new regulations from the HOA we have to worry about, have we?
Oh, I tend to not pay too much attention to the letters that end up in my mailbox from the HOA. Real judgy bunch recently, so
Man
letters
after
kind
my
of
own
stay
heart.
unopened.
I'm gonna take that one there. Throw off that one. Uh, Man after my own heart. By the way, is there anything that we can do to help you? Or is there anything you might need?
Unless you can give me an extra 8 hours in the day to work on this house.
Oh,
I'll look over.
oh, no, not yet. Although one of these days, my girls will be old enough to babysit or help out, because I feel like we all need to stick around and work together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. How about you? Anything I can help you with?
Well, I'm still just doing a lot of surveying out in the countryside and traveling around, uh, that sort of a thing. And nothing, no big news just yet. Sadly, I suppose I need to go spend some extra time in the library and all of that sort of. But it's slow going, slow going. By the way, what's happened to Lot 18? Any news? Has that been fixed?
Not 19. I mean, I've asked around. I've read some pamphlets provided for some
I mean,
people about fixing the land, but as of now, I mean, I would assume it's fixed, but I don't think anybody's really been willing to go check it out. Which perfectly fine with
the
me. It means I don't have any neighbors on that side.
I noticed the neighborhood dogs won't go on that plot of land yet either. Man, should probably be. I don't know how that's all dealt with. By the way, what do you think about this whole Olympic other situation?
It is a frustrating time, that is for sure. Definitely do not appreciate other as a qualifier. It's not the first
Hmm.
time my family's been called other, and it won't be the last. But I think that we're early enough that I think the sway of the public opinion can happen faster than what the government has to say about this or that. I think the best we can do is make sure that we put our best foot forward with the general public, and
Yeah.
maybe we gain enough friends that we are called what we are and not something as crass as other.
Makes me just think about how Jim Thorpe got his medals stripped from some sort of technicality. See, there's a lot of unfairness with that Olympic committee.
Like, tell me about it. Yes. Well, it is very exciting. I'm glad to see that the nations are once again together, especially after two great wars.
War
I'm
is
glad to
a
see us.
scourge. scourge, I'd say.
Definitely better. Yeah, definitely better ways of dealing with our problems than a war of the common man.
Agreed. Agreed. Now, so how your shop is doing well, I assume?
Better than nothing. We get business here and there. We're not booming, but you know, we get a little work here and there. Linda and I go out every weekend and make sure we go around the cities around Savannah and see what we can pick up here and there to go sell at our shop. And that's going pretty well.
Well, if you hear anything about the neighborhood that we need to know, you should let us know and we'll do the same as well. By the way, we're bidding for this round.
Is anybody else joining the well-to-do? Oh, well, not well-to-do. The event over at the Walters?
Yeah, I think Jacob probably like absentmindedly forgot, like I think misscheduled like his daughters. It's like, oh, that's why she's so mad. We're supposed to go. So I think we come in probably a little bit later. Did we miss that? Sorry for apologies for being late.
Oh, of course, of course. No worries. Come on in. We were wondering about you.
Yeah. You have schoolwork and all that.
Oh,
Typing work.
Oh,
Did we miss how much of the opening ceremony did we miss?
all of it.
Oh, unfortunately. Well, shoot, I would have been nice to be able to see the Korea march under its own flag again. After
Yes. Well,
would have been nice for the girls,
I-
but you know how things are during the summer.
by the way, did you get any news about the research about old ancestral land? I had all the sorts of things I know about it. Sort of lost land. Have you discovered anything in your research?
I did find a couple good sources, but as the frustrating thing about how these things should go, it's within the it's as much written as what isn't written, what is written in pencil,
Yes.
and not recorded. Sort of things that
Everything is
you have to
all.
you have to find research, got to find journals, and then you have to find secondhand accounts and all that. But I think we have. I think I was able. If you want to stop by the university anytime that you're free, I have some
Good leads, I hope.
some good leads from the research.
Thank you. The last time I bought some land on speculation, hoping it might have been our family's land, ancestral land, it was not. It was not at all. But hope springs eternal.
Well,
that's exciting. Get a little bit of information on what's been going on. Although, Jaehyun, you are working yourself to the bone. You have been at that university working all day and into the evening. I see you coming on in late in the day, sun coming down.
yes,
You
yes.
gotta take a break.
I do take breaks occasionally, but this university is demanding even when there aren't students. Have to fulfill the research portion of my employment there, but wouldn't have it any other way. But yeah, thank you for inviting us. And how is
I
everything?
wonder what them on the rich side of town, the Lafayette's and Blackthorns and Adelines and all of them are up to. Probably plotting some sort of HOA.
I don't think they're that nefarious.
Just you mark my words. The next thing you know, Row, they'll be telling us that we cannot use the color red on our mailboxes.
In Georgia? No, that would be blasphemy.
Never know. Ever
Also,
know.
the Adelines would be real upset about that. They really are. They really like the color red over there. I even saw one of the shovels. They were red.
Pebbles.
Grab the red shovel. That's the emergence. That's the thing. Yeah.
The blood
The one
shovel.
behind the glass. Oh man.
So this leads to my question before we go to break. I feel that we need to make our project rolls. Lindy, you're not going to have to worry about this round
Cool.
because you weren't here at the end of the last session. But
Opal's just like, you sure you don't need any help, Dr. Blackthorn?
There is just the sounds of metal on metal, the faint hum of "You're just too marvelous for words" coming from underneath the car.
Glass of sweet tea? Oh, he's busy. Okay.
so I hope y'all wrote down what your house fortune rolls were. I remember. So Hope, you get a +6. Lynn, you get a +5. Trooper, you get a +2.
-5.
No, because I actually went back and double checked. It's bonuses instead of negatives, so it's start because it's only a d6. So it's 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Is what we started the conversation with, and that was what I had originally written down. But then we got distracted by trying to explain something else, and I changed what I was talking about, trying to explain something else, and that was my misspeak. And so that's why I'm trying to make sure that we have this down correctly. So Blackthorn, because you rolled a boon, gets a +6. Jaeun, because you rolled a growth, you get a +5. Peter Musgrove, because you got the one that is not a disaster, a curse, you get a +2. And then Ro Walters, you got a disaster, so you get a +1. You're going to roll 2. You have a project. I would like you to just state the general name of your project, and I will tell you how many stages it will have. Excuse me. Those stages can be 4 or 5 depending on how things go. Each stage requires 6 to complete the stage. You will roll 2d6, and then whatever your house fortune result modifier is will be a bonus to that 2d6 roll. Each time you roll 6, so if, for example, you roll 2d6 and you had a +3, and you rolled, say you crit on the 2d6 roll, and that meant you have a total of 15, you get 2 stages complete +3 to carry over to the next stage 3 of this project. Is everybody understanding the rules so far?
Yes.
Cool. So, I feel like we start with Dr. Blackthorn because you're the only one who's not at the party.
So the project involves a expansion of the VA.
An expansion of the VA. I'm assuming local.
Yes.
Are you talking the hospital or the
hospital?
Okay.
Dealing with more of the esoteric matters.
Okay, so you want to add an esoteric matters department to the VA.
The local VA, yes.
Yes, so you want to add local. You want to add an esoteric department. I mean, okay. I would say that this is a 5-stage project. You have to. 3 of those stages involved government approval.
Of course. That's why you have money. Those power coupons go far.
Yes, they do. So again, 2d6, and then you get a +6, so you're automatically going to pass 1 stage.
16.
16. So you pass 2 stages, and then stage 3, you get 4. Cool. All right. Then we're going to go to the Quans. Project. Yes? No? Maybe?
Yes, I think Jahin and his wife are gonna be curious about the nature of the neighborhood and stuff like that, the initiatives that put in place. So we're gonna just do some civic research.
So you want to research the subdivision, the history
Yeah.
thereof?
Yeah, and also probably more on the recent with like the addition, the like with this um initiative, putting as many others here as possible.
Okay, so you want to research the history and politics of the subdivision
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah.
All right, I would say that that's a 4-stage project.
Excellent. Good.
Because a lot of this is going to be public,
Yeah.
public documents.
Yeah.
The difficulty is in getting to those public documents.
Make sure everything looks good. Make sure like we've made the right choice, and having our kids grow up here.
All right, so you get a +5 to your roll. So 2d6 plus 5.
6 plus 5. Okay. Can I use a bonus dice with that? Actually, no, that's gonna mess things up too much. Never mind.
Yeah, that wouldn't.
That would mess things up. Yeah, I remember what that does for these things. I had a 14.
Okay, so that's 2 stages completed, +2 for the next stage. So I would just make a note somewhere in your notes how your project is going and how many stages you've completed, how many boxes you've ticked.
So 2 out of 4. So that
Yeah.
4-stage clock is halfway.
Two out of 4, and then 4 out of 6 for part 3.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Good.
Dr. Musgrove, you are at a +2 to your roll.
Yes, we are going to be we are continuing our search for our ancestral land that we do not know the location of it. So
I
we'll
would
be
say I'd say right now that that's
searching for it.
I would say right now that that's a 4-stage project.
Would Jaehoon's help mechanically?
I would say mechanically, because you have been helping and doing research yourself, and the fact that you succeeded on your project roles, and technically you've been spending because of what your project is, it would also mechanically benefit. So I will say you can roll 3d6 and choose the 2 highest.
All right. So this is so we get to roll 2d6 in general.
You get to roll 2d6 in general. 2d6 plus 2 is your roll based on your house fortune roll. I'm going to give you an extra bonus die. Ooh.
11, 13.
13.
Oh, nice.
That's 2 stages complete plus 1 towards stage 3. So
Oof.
some of those papers that Jaehoon found for you, found in their research of the city and county records, have some additional realty and plot maps of going back to early Savannah, have helped you focus a little bit better.
Oh, good to know. Good to know indeed. Thank you. But it'll take a while before we can find it. I hope we can find it. Just have to go out surveying the land again. Oh.
Yeah, you've ruled out big chunks of the rest of the city.
Yeah, but at least there are some serious leads here we can at least seriously look at.
Yes. Thank you. It's been
Absolutely.
I've been looking for this for quite some time.
Don't
Tell you
thank me
what,
just yet.
it's
Just wait until your kids learn magic. Then see if you thank me.
Well, I don't know if they'll have the gift. Not many of us in my family do anymore.
But family history, important. Having that clear helps.
Yeah. I mean, even if we don't, it never comes back into our family, but at least we'll have fixed wrongs of the past. That's the most important. The land remembers.
Of course. Never wise to upset the land. Always be good with that.
Sure,
No.
go ahead and take
And that's just like
take an extra bonus die for that absolutely perfect timed timed drop of house words.
and I just with the letter of members, just a quiet glance over at Ro because I know they had a land problem recently, and want to make sure they're okay because it's
Yeah,
somewhat
I
traumatic.
don't know what your problem is. The dogs really like Plot 18. Like, there's some really
Sure.
nice big dogs and some really big ant. It's, remember, Dr. Musgrove, it's consecrated land. It's blessed. The only people who would have problems on that are people who may not enjoy that. Hey, Mr. Walters, how are you?
Doing great, doing wonderful out here trying to improve Peachy Ponds, our pawn shop out in the city.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and how, just trying to expand the business itself? Are you trying to get new credit? How is this project going? So I just need a little bit more detail to determine how many
So
stages this is going to be.
um I would say that like our shelves are stocked most of the time, but we have a lot of small things. I
Mhm.
think I want to try and establish more relationships. Like I said, my wife and I, for reasons, will leave the general Savannah area and go to other small towns around Savannah to try and find some interesting items to bring back to the pawn shop that we could sell out over here on our weekends. So I
So
would like to
perhaps
try
it
and
might.
establish like more relationships with like people who might have bigger things.
So might it be fair to say that you're trying to shift from being a mere pawn shop to an antiques dealer?
Yes, or like whatever lands. I know that technology is getting a rise also, so like I don't know.
Yeah,
Wherever
I
I
mean,
get
but it's
whatever
slightly
we get.
more. You're trying to move yourself into a higher class of clientele. Is what I'm
Yes.
hearing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
say that this is a 4-stage project
Mhm.
at the moment. So it'll be 2d6 plus 1.
I had a moment where I just forgot how to type. 2d6 plus 1.
No.
Hey,
7.
that's actually
Oh.
not bad for you.
Thanks. Thanks.
Look,
A 7. I
look,
appreciate it.
PB, we have seen you roll for anything tied to the house that's not your character but the house.
Yeah.
So you succeeded on one stage 1 of your project,
At
plus
least
1
it's
point going towards stage 2.
at least it's good,
Uh-huh.
It's like it's on the positive side, 'cause otherwise you bring back some incredibly cursed items. Just
Yeah, like
Rue.
you've got a couple larger items now that are drawing attention and
It,
starting
Mhm.
to get, let's say, in the near suburbs of Savannah, as in the rest of the county, your name is getting a little bit put out there, but
Mhm.
that's about it at the moment.
is this pawn shop going to end up getting a kid a Mugwai in the 1980s?
this feels like Killer Doll. Okay.
We'll find out how they're doing in the 80s. Um, so that's where we are right now for projects and everything. And I think we're going to take a break. Everybody stretch, bio, and perhaps enjoy some dulcet tones upon the radio. See you in a minute, everybody.
Brill cream, a little dabble do ya? Brill cream, you look so debonair. Brill cream, the gals will all pursue ya. They'll love to run their fingers through your hair. Brill cream, a little dabble do ya? Use more, but only if you dare. But watch out, the gals will all pursue ya. They'll love to run their fingers through your hair. Brill cream proudly now uses only beeswax sourced from English druid beekeepers. Add a little touch of magic shine to your hair. And that's the current update on future pecan harvest. And now a word from our sponsor. When witches and Virginia farmers come together, they strike lucky. When you want to celebrate all victories overseas, choose the leaf that's fine for luckies. So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw. And now magically grown right here at home to remove all foreign impurities. A healthier tobacco that supports our local farmers. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. And now, back to Elmer Hansen with the Livestock Futures Report. Everything for the boys. Everything to make precious leaves memorable. The most sought after girls. The most luxurious cigarettes. Marlboros. Do share your Marlboros with him. Marlboro's subtle, dryad blessed, magical enhancements add zest to smoking pleasure. Lavishly blended, dryad grown tobaccos, which cheaper cigarettes cannot possibly afford. Now, with new flavor options, Marlboro, the cigarette of distinction.
Welcome back, everybody. Hope you're refreshed, you stretched, you bioed. And again, a great shout out and thank you to our dear friend Kentucky KY Hawkeye for those wonderful mid intermission ads you heard. But while the fine dinner party is going on over at the Walters house, let's check in with the other members of the actual Carousel Court.
Right now, surprisingly enough, uh, the fluid change has fully occurred. Now it's the getting everything reassembled and the car off the blocks part of the procedure.
I need a roll from you.
Okay. What would you like? There are so many.
There are indeed so many. I think that this is going to be a knowledge education roll.
Sweet. Okay.
For you to do some vehicle maintenance.
Sure. We'll spend one of them generous bonus dice.
There are indeed very generous bonus dice that some people have.
18.
Oh, you're fine. There are 3 things that do not happen. Number 1, you've successfully flushed the lines, so you do not have to worry about any particulates or mess ups in your hydraulics. Number 2, you successfully remove yourself from under the car. And number 3, you successfully lower the car off of the jacks and don't mess up your suspension by dropping it too hard.
Family has a reputation to uphold. Also, if I screw this up, Oscar would never let me hear the end of it.
You'd probably deserve it, though.
I would. That's why I didn't screw up. So yeah, it takes in total about 90 minutes for this entire surgical procedure to be completed. And the patient to be rolled back into the garage for recovery.
And I have another question. Miss Ardeline?
Yes.
Are you going to be spending all that hour and a half outside on your front porch?
Well, I'll probably have to go in at some point to help Mama make dinner. But then after dinner, you make dinner. Mama makes dinner. That's what I picked up the produce for. No, Mama is a great cook. It's steak and potatoes night. We eat a lot of red meat because Mama, she's a bit of an anemic. So you'd probably smell because we probably got like the kitchen window open, so the smell of like steak and potatoes and vegetables waft out at some point, and then after dinner, have another cup of tea on the porch because it's what you do.
Very important for those of us who did live south of the Mason-Dixon line, and particularly in the deep south, was you having a cup of tea on that porch or a glass of tea on that porch?
Oh, a glass of tea.
An important question, to be sure.
There is a distinction. It's a glass of tea, and probably like a little, it's a little thing of fruit cocktail, for dessert.
Fruit cocktail or ambrosia?
Oh, ambrosia. Let's go all out. So like a little ambrosia. Have her glass of sweet tea and ambrosia on the front porch after dinner.
And has your family been paying attention to what any of the recent news stories?
Oh, yes and no. I generally Oliver's job is to bring like the newspaper home and stuff, but we have a television and a radio, so we stay pretty current. Inside. And then,
Did y'all watch the opening ceremonies?
I think maybe we started to, and then the TV got turned off.
Why?
Well, I wouldn't say this outside of the household, but if you're inside the household, they're just not as exciting as the Olympics used to be. Where's all the blood sport? Something along those lines. I would never say that out of the walls of the household, though. Um, my family just thought they were a little boring, is all. Mama probably had the radio on with the Olympics, though, in the kitchen. But it wasn't on the television for long.
Dr. Blackthorn, was anybody in the Gwillem household enjoying the Olympics?
Oh, I am certain any of our new arrivals are definitely getting an education on what it's like down here by watching the Olympics. Well, listening to the Olympics.
So, I guess the question is there anything y'all need at this very particular moment?
Just enjoying my ambrosia, sweet tea, and reading Animal Farm.
Oh, very in-depth reading.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're
Came
proceeding
out a few years
to
ago.
our last operation of the day. The dogwood needs to be trimmed.
By the way, for those of you playing along at home in chat, I just dropped a link to the wonderful project that the fabulous KY Hawkeye did. There was a request if you want to watch his clip of the Grappler's Keep light heavyweight battle between Benny Goodman and Glenn Miller. It is right there. Enjoy.
After a good time there with the Musgroves and the Guans, on our way home, tell Linda to go on
they're all at
ahead.
your house.
Yeah.
They're once they're all leaving, and I'm walking them home on the way back. I hear some snippety snapping over at the Blackthorn's house, and I walk by and I take a look to see who's outside doing the work.
That's the thing. If there's yard work in the front part, you always see Mercer. We don't see who does the work in the back.
That could be said for a lot of families on this block.
I don't walk down this this particular road very often. You guys are kind of recessed in there. And so I come up and I see Dr. Mercer doing some pruning of his tree. And I say, "Oh, Dr. Mercer, how are you doing on this fine evening?"
Right? As there's just a vicious snip of dead limb as it comes crashing out of the dogwood. Oh, may I be of service?
Oh, well, I'll ask my questions here in a second, but answer mine first. How are you doing, Mr. Blackthorn, Dr. Blackthorn? Mom, I do apologize.
It's been a busy day. As another snip and a crash.
I can't imagine being the city's most well-known surgeon. I'm sure you get asked for all the time.
2 open hearts and 1 emergency appendectomy.
Well, you must be exhausted after all of that and still out here doing yard work.
It is a testament to one's predecessors that I have as much verve and vigor as I do. Snip.
Fair enough. Now, although a bit presumptuous, you are correct. But it's not I have a friend who has recently come back from the war, and just a little concerned about them. I know that you do work with those coming back from the war often, and so I guess my question is, what's the best way for me to assist him?
Instead of staying in his little perch on the ladder, he actually comes down.
And as you're coming down the ladder, you see Opal like sigh, close the book, put a bookmark in, and get on her own gardening gloves because she's gonna get bitched at if y'all are working on your front yard and I'm not pulling weeds. I go down, I start pulling weeds by the mailbox.
And he gets close to you. Like, he actually takes a moment to actually take a step back. Like, he realizes he invaded your space.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a physical issue or is it a more problematic issue?
I don't know if it's problematic per se, but I think he is struggling a bit mentally. Coming back from the war, I'm sure, has caused many of issue, but I feel like he may be struggling adjusting to his family here.
Probably too much. What theater did he serve?
Hey, what theater did Graham serve? What's he do? What's his name?
He was a European theater, specifically. Hold, please. I have it right here. Yes, he was. He was part of the 82nd Airborne. He was one of those very. That's why they moved back to Savannah after he got out.
Oh, that kind
No,
of issue.
and he was an artillery officer for the 82nd Airborne. He was very special.
That, I believe, is beyond my capabilities, but I can give you an elder in the family that might be of some use. Go to the law office downtown. See Mikey. Tell him I sent you, and that you need to see Zachariah.
Oh, okay. Will do. Go see Mikey down at the law office. Said Dr. Mercer sent me. And that I need to talk
to
Zachariah. Thank you very much for the resource. I really do appreciate it. I do have another question. My family's lived here quite a long while. Not just me and my wife, but my ancestors, and my grandmother is the one who let us know how the family worked and how the world worked. However, she died early. She died young, broken heart, bless her. And she was really unable to share that much with me. And as the world is expanding and becoming more open, I am struggling a little to keep up in the way that I feel I shouldn't be. And I was curious, um, how well informed you and yours are to this new world that has appeared to everyone.
There is a long pause. The world is very broad, broader than we know, filled with wonders and horrors that we cannot hope to comprehend or label. I am familiar with some of these things.
No, I'm not asking you to talk my ear off about all of these in one sitting, but would you mind if every once in a while we shared a drink and you relayed some of this information to me?
I'm a bit of a teetotaler myself. I prefer ice cream.
Oh, I'm happy to go share some Sundays instead of that.
Time in the Navy made me have a predilection for ice cream.
Oh, absolutely. No need to explain anything to me.
But sure, we can discuss things. As he just kind of like looks at you for a moment and then looks over at lot 18 and then back at you. We can talk.
It's Sunday. It's Thursday today. It's like, how's your schedule looking tomorrow, doctor?
Oh, tomorrow's the start of my weekend, barring any emergency calls.
Well, would you like to go and get a Sunday with me?
Oh, sure. There's a parlor over by the junkyard that's decent. So go over to Sloan's, have some ice cream.
Alrighty then. Thank you very much, Dr. Mercer. It was a pleasure speaking to you tonight, and I'll make sure to go speak to your acquaintances and see if I can get some help from my friend.
Have a good evening, Mr. Mercer. I mean, Mr. Walters.
Good evening, Dr. Mercer. And I'll walk back home to my beautiful, beautiful wife.
Have a good night, Mr. Walters.
Have a good night, Mrs. Audeline.
Weeds. Um, is there anyone in the neighborhood around Opal's age? Any
Young and available.
eligible? Yeah.
In the neighborhood itself, the closest person who's of your age demographic,
Early
plus or mi-
20s.
yeah, plus a couple years
Mid-20s?
closer to 26 is
Mhm.
Kit Eldridge. He lives across the little next
Mm-hmm.
door to the Gwims, and his parents, Harlan and Yasmin, are live in closer to town, and he lives in this property. Kit came back, was stationed overseas, and he is in your book. Young, chiseled jaw. He is doing. Well, actually, you know who. You know. Your aunt does a lot of business with the Eldridges, specifically Harlan and his very charming wife, Yasmin.
Okay.
But Kit is he is born in 1920. He was 25, so he's 28 now, or 27.
Okay.
He was 20. He was 25 in 1945.
Gotcha.
So just about the right age to be looking around and calling on nice young ladies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just curious, as a young 20-year-old, I
Yeah.
gotta,
You gotta start finding yourself some prospects.
I do.
And
Yeah,
let's see, who else do we need to consider?
I guess there's supposed to be a picture for Kit in the NPC document.
Oh, sorry, my apologies. I did not.
I was just curious.
Did I put? Oh, I didn't put him in there. There we go. Chris
there
and
he
Mike.
is.
By the way, Chris and Mike Sycamore, you are very aware of the fact that they are A, not brothers, and B, everybody knows that who are at all related to the supernatural knows that Chris and Mike Sycamore are part of the the dryads who live in the area, and a large section of the refuge is directly to the east of this subdivision, which is, this large mesa swampland. Who else is young and unmarried who would possibly want? Oh, Robin McLeod, very nice young gentleman.
Oh, yeah,
appears to be about 23.
Okay, cool.
We discovered the fatal flaw in the neighborhood.
Also, again, Rex, if there's anybody new, please tell me, because they just keep falling out of trees.
Yes, this is true. Unfortunately, not currently yet. Caradec Lafayette, he is the eldest child of Emil and Emery Lafayette. But you wouldn't be hanging out with him. Your mama and your aunt would not recommend it.
Oh, okay. Noted.
Slightly aggressively.
She'd want to know why, but she wouldn't ask to. She might ask her mama, but she wouldn't ask her aunt.
Comments about the Lafayettes and their practices. Not practices,
okay.
but like they.
We did vote for them for the
Yes, but it's very much of a you agree to exist within each other's spheres, but
I see.
Your magic and theirs
Noted. So stay away from
well, yes, and don't make any agreements, don't take any food from them, and be very careful about what you say.
Noted. I know, I figured out what they are. Yeah. Cool. So I think, after pulling some weeds to make sure she doesn't get scolded later, because again, if the neighbor is working on their yard, we have to be working on ours. Them's the rules. It's on the fridge. There's like a little fridge magnet. It's on a little piece of paper. It's the part of the rules. And so I think after pulling some weeds, would just take, now that it's cool, like just, post sunset, would take like a little stroll around the neighborhood. Probably with her brother, to, because she, not by herself. Young lady shouldn't be walking around at night. But thankfully she's got a twin brother, so I think she can drag Oliver around for a stroll.
How far do you go? Because if you go beyond what's on your portion of the map, there are probably some more young gentlemen that you might come across. But again, this is a nice subdivision with family homes, so.
I think
the best place to meet people would be going to like the Hall soda fountain.
Oh, the soda fountain. If I could convince Oliver to go to the soda fountain, I think we might just go to the soda fountain. He works at the bank.
Yes, and he would be very aware of the halls, and you'd probably be aware of the halls as well. Carmelina and Thomas the halls have owned a sundry store in town for a couple generations. And previously, before the revelation, the halls, sundries, certain groups of people had a certain shopping that was done in the back.
Yes, no, we
since
would
the-
be familiar with the halls. Yeah.
Yes, the revelation meant that there was now those shopping in the back is now in the front of the store. And so then their son Jack, Giacomo Hall, and his charming young wife Nora are now running the soda fountain, which is in the building next door.
Delightful, delightful. Yeah, so probably if she could talk Oliver into it, would want to go down to the soda fountain because it's a fun place to go in the evening in the summer while young.
Are you looking for a good time or just looking to have fun?
I think she's just looking to have some fun tonight. Preliminary scouting. Family is very important, and my elders are quite particular in their standards. But I may have a personal goal, which may or may not be love. So, those two probably won't clash at all ever. That's be fine, I'm sure.
Can I get you to make me a roll as you how are you
I would
presenting yourself
love
as you're
to.
walking into this soda fountain? And it's a very traditional soda fountain.
Beautiful.
One long counter with multiple seats. There are a couple small round tables with those heart-shaped arched wrought iron chairs around, and then there's a couple
Classic.
like booths in the very back for if you happen to want to share a soda with somebody.
She doesn't have anybody like that yet, so I think she's gonna be more like at the counter where you can like mingle, meet people, and drag Oliver with her so that he can mingle and meet people. He's the introvert out of the two of them. She's the extrovert. So I'd be like, we're gonna go to the soda fountain and meet people. And her reasoning was I'm buying, so you come on Oliver. So we'll get twins will just chill out and look to socialize, meet and greet.
Can I get a status reputation roll, please?
Yes, I would be happy to. Status reputation. But I'm gonna use one of my bonus die. Because I have those.
You
Use
do
one
indeed.
bonus die. One. Penalty dice. No. 15.
Ooh, very nice. I mean, the Ardelenes are well known in town, of a good reputation. And when you and your very charming brother, who are both very attractive and very single, are making your way around the town and taking yourselves to the soda fountain, a lot of the other younger people who are hanging out in the soda fountain are going to come over to talk with you. Jack Hall is going to make a point of, pulling that level of social networking that you get from a bartender.
Yeah, the soda jerk.
The soda jerk, but it's also like he's the own. There's a little bit of it like, would you like some fries? You're just gonna soda? Do you want an ice cream?
Oh, ice cream for sure. We're big ice cream people. After Daddy went to the war, he also came back with a penchant for ice cream, so he says.
I mean, I can see it.
He was Navy.
Also very true. So you make your way around. You're seen and being seen. If you want to talk to a couple people, there really
just
isn't
make some mingling. And being seen is part of it, because then people will gossip and I'll try. I'm like, oh, did you see the Ardeline twins were out at the soda fountain? Maybe they'll be out more often now that it's summer and that kind of thing.
Yes,
Just
and
making myself known.
yes, and a couple people are going to come over and talk to you in groups, kind of thing. And but
Yep.
your brother is there as your chaperone, so
Uh-huh.
none of the young gentlemen are going to do anything like actually ask you to a dance or anything like that.
Yeah, but it'd be weirder if I came all by myself, so I gotta bring it.
This is
I
true.
don't
You
have
don't have
I don't
any
have a
young
lot
lady
of friends. Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and there is talk about having that the Rotary is going to have a dance tomorrow night.
Oh, that is exciting. And I think at some point I'd shoo Oliver. I'll have to go talk to somebody to a different group. Why don't we talk to different groups of people in the same building? Doesn't that sound fun? Yes, it does. Now let's go. And like socialize without me for once.
Um,
Get him out of his shell. Again, he's the introvert. So I'll be like, come on, Oliver. I can only wing woman for you so much. Like,
yeah, there's that for you.
And you're not wingmanning for me at all. So
Also a true statement. While that's happening, let's hand back over to the Quans. It's evening, close to 8 o'clock at night. What's going on at the Quan house?
I think I can quickly kind of reset kind of the warding on the little in the backyard. Just climb up the tree, make sure the wind chime is still in the correct spot it's supposed to be. But I'll remember something that maybe overheard during the TV watching about lot 18, and like being curious, just kind of it's early enough, he's not tired yet. Could just take a little walk and just take a look at it. It's still undeveloped, right? Or has it been developed?
There is a house that is on the property.
Mm-hmm. Is anybody in there? Or is it?
No.
Huh. Weird.
Well, not really. I mean, it's really easy to get into public records. The Walters own the property.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't live there.
Hmm. That's even more fascinating. So, you know what? Take a little bit of a walk. My walk takes me past that. And, take a look at it real fast.
Ooh, could you roll me an awareness and if you have any points in
What do I have in awareness? Notice. Notice is what I have, if that's anything.
Yeah, but I want to try and give you you can use any bonus die you have in either education or research.
Oh, I'm both of those. So yeah, 2, yeah.
And you have 3 bonus dice, by the way.
I will put 2 in there. I want to. This is an unusual situation for this thing. I think it's just curious enough to look at it. All right, knowledge plus. Okay.
So
2,
yeah,
that's
so
4.
awareness, but with the bonus dice from either education or research.
Awareness. Okay, it's plus 4. Okay.
And you have 3 bonus dice as well if you.
Yep, I'm using 2 of them.
2 of the ones from your box.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Reminder everybody that they do not carry over. So
Yeah. We still have a little bit of time. There could be something that comes up. 17.
17. What does this look like in a kind of metaphysical, magical examination of this property as you walk by?
I think it's a little bit kind of like testing the boundary a little bit. So there's like a little bit of like stopping, just getting a feeling for something and then seeing if there's any if there's any sort of like energy here, what is the boundary? So like it'll be like further like, down the street, on the sidewalk, but like he'll even take a step up the driveway a little bit just to kind of get a feel for it.
So as you come out around and you go around the corner of the property, because it is on a corner and it leads to a small road that leads to the road that backs up to the McLeod's property.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a row of houses behind like the Ardelines and the Gwillums. But those row of houses, there's no one who lives behind the Ardelines and the Gwillums. There's somebody that lives behind the Halls. There's nobody who lives behind the Walters. And so really only one house is occupied, but there are three or four more houses over there. So as you make this corner around lot 18, lot 18, and you follow it, you realize that property is holy ground, consecrated ground. And it extends back towards that next property that's right to the north of 18.
The one right off the map, right?
Right off the map,
like,
yeah.
On top, like north of it.
So there's one that goes right off the map to the north, and then it actually goes across the street to the property that's right across the street to the west. That's also right off the map, of course, because I made it smaller to deal with. So those two pieces, so to the north and to the west, and you realize that it's basically the four plots that are right around this side street that are 18, the one to the north, and then directly to the west, and the one to the northwest, kind of like those four plots right there in a square, and that street running between them are all consecrated ground. And that this particular piece of consecrated ground is also scarred magically. Like the consecration of the ground happened after something magical had happened on this property that scarred it.
Like something magically like traumatic happened to like the land, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Some magical working happened that scarred and the magical, for lack of a better term, ley lines, even though that isn't actually true, and you know that that's not really what.
Yeah. Someone. Well.
And then after that, at some point, the property was consecrated to a Christian tradition that is still in practice.
How much is the consecration covering the original scar?
It's
on top of it.
It's
like, is it almost toll, or is it like it's you're covering up a smell with another smell, but the original underneath still.
No, think of it as layers of habitation.
Okay, right. So it's like it's like the scar happened, and then somebody else moved in and consecrated the ground, but nobody did anything to actually heal, quote unquote, heal the magic of the area. It was just harmed in this way. And then at some point later, someone else came, whether they knew it was harmed in this way and chose not to fix it, or just didn't know it all and just consecrated the ground to whatever, this Protestant religion. I mean, it could be coincidence, but it could, coincidence would be the easier of the two things. Having it be purposeful means there is something in this, and it's down the street, and So does that so the entirety of the scarred aura goes into those things as well. It's just not focused on 18. It bleeds into the other 4.
Yeah, with a 17, you know that it bleeds into the other 4. You'd have to do some more work, because you have to get underneath that layer of consecration, right? Like,
yeah.
So think of it like in archaeology terms. I'm gonna
think.
So figure it's like, again, layers of habitation, and you have that, somebody just put down a bunch of hardwood on top of some sort of thing underneath, and you know you can knock on it, and you know the thing is underneath, but you have to pull up the hardwood floor to maybe find that beautiful mosaic that's underneath, right? Like,
yeah,
and you can
okay.
see portions of it because you can find what, for lack of a better term, were like post hole rot. Speaking in archaeology terms, post hole rot is the second most useful thing in aside from trash heaps, because post holes, what would happen is, even if the building above ground was torn down or burned down or anything, the post that was still stuck in the dirt or anything that remained underneath would decompose at different rates, or it would be preserved in some other manner, so you can track the shape of a building or the shape of a boundary line based on those posts, right? So it's the same kind of thing. You would have to do some magical archaeology to clean off what's on the top layers.
There's
to get more
not the
underneath.
thing, but there's like the evidence that it occupied that space from the things that were built on top of it. Yeah,
and you have to dig a little deeper, right? Like that 17 is going to tell you about the fact that the land is consecrated. It expands to all 4 of these plots with the road that's in between. You can feel the evidence of the scar across all 4 of these properties, but you don't know how evenly it's distributed. You don't know the shape of it or anything like that.
Who lives in these? Are there families in like occupying these other properties too?
Not in 18. The one directly to the north of 18, no. The 2 across the street, yes.
Okay.
They're both relatively young families, as in young couples with a infant or a toddler. And these are definitely post-war bungalows. They're single branch homes. Both of them have carports. They look very similar to you and the Musgroves house. And very kind of small plot basics. But they're just 2 nice young couples that have moved in on the GI Bill. The Hamptons and the Pritchards.
I just write time to...
I can even tell you, if you give me 2 seconds to pull up the
absolutely.
other map, because I do have the other map. It just requires me to find the full thing. Here we go. And okay, so 17 is directly across the street. And then the house that's to the north of 17 is technically not part of the same tract. Actually it is, but it's not as excuse me, I have to be more correct. 17, the one directly across from directly north of 17, there isn't a house there, so there would only be the Hamptons, no Pritchards, because that tract has not yet been developed yet. It won't be developed until 1952. So those row of houses that are to the north of y'all don't exist yet. Sorry, I misread the map. I was off by 4 years. So those row of houses haven't been developed yet. So only 17 is occupied, but you can see where the boundary markers are for the one directly north of 17 and the one directly north of 18.
Okay, so like the properties, if there's anyone there, they've been the house, the buildings and the families are relatively new, like probably around the same time, if not newer than. Okay.
I'm gonna retcon it and just say the only family that's moved in is in 17, which is directly across the street from 18. And it is only the Hampsteads, and they are young family, brand new tract house.
This feels 100% like a like a magical like landlord fix where they just plop like paint over something.
No,
like, it's fine. I mean, it's not that thing, but like it just in the feeling it has, it's just like.
Oh, in the feeling it has, it feels much more like Well, your family is from, shall we say, an area of the world where you had multiple levels of habitation. And it's just like the palace burnt down or the building burnt down after at a certain point, and somebody just came in and built a new one on top of it and didn't really care about what was underneath. The magical version of that.
Yeah, cool. This is right here. It's great. Excellent.
I'm going to make everybody's life easier and give you the complete plot map from 1945. You see exactly how big this section, by the way, this is just a quarter of the subdivision as of 1945. I added it to the NPC doc.
Oh, okay.
It is slide number 3 now.
Ooh. Oh boy. There we go.
So the Lafayette's own track plots 59 and 60, by the way.
Cool.
And their large house spans, well, Kit's large house spans 59 and 60 right over the middle.
Good. Is there the possibility that I can include this into the project?
Yes.
Next time.
Actually, which project? Your project?
Yeah. Yep. Looking at the neighborhood, this feels like it. This feels like it's in the neighborhood.
It is in the neighborhood. It is indeed in part of the neighborhood.
And so the 4 consecrated ones are 17, 18, 33, and 32?
No, 17 and 18, and then to the north of 17 and 18.
Okay.
Okay.
In the Kelly track, in what is labeled the Kelly track,
street,
and is not
just
been
like-
developed yet. As of 1945, it was not developed. It will be developed as of
It will
1952.
be. It will have its turn to have the soil upturned. That's great. That's wonderful. That's good. That can only be good things.
Yes, I have been following this particular subdivision through its multiple plot maps through history, and I just was like, oh wait, forgot that change happens in 1952, not 1940.
Yeah, we can no longer build your house because there's some sort of real messed up curse on it now.
I mean, the land's real holy.
It's yeah. Like yeah,
Bold of you to assume that I don't know that my land's cursed.
I mean, we did. I mean,
Bold of you to assume that's why I live at 19 because I didn't like my 18 house. It's a nicer house. 18's house is way nicer than my house.
Yeah, no one's in it. No one's in it.
I know,
We've been
except
here for
nosy
4 years.
neighbors.
No one's in it.
Well, I own it. It's mine. That's why no one lives there.
But you haven't offloaded it yet.
I'm
been 3
nosy.
years.
It is my
nosy.
land. My family has been here since 6. I don't remember when. They've been here for over a century. This is my land. Everyone's been building around it. I've been real nice about it, but this is my house. This is mine. You can have your nice large plot. This is mine. My land. I don't care that it's cursed. It's mine.
You know there's
Look at
other
the
land out there.
deconsecration. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I mean, to be fair-
you know what? My great grandmother didn't own that land.
To be fair, it's not it's not. It's like a quarter of your land is like your quarter. You're a quarter of the cursed land or the consecrated land. So / cursed. Who knows? Maybe both. It's probably both. That's also really bad.
Consecrated and accursed.
Yeah. It's like a smelly bathroom with like a Glade plugin. It's
Your
great.
Grandma
It's
sure
not
knew how
good.
to pick them.
No, it's not the Glade plugin. It is the 1980s grandmother basket of potpourri on
That's
the
like-
back of the
Oh yes,
toilets.
Bold of you to assume
You
this land
guys
was.
are- You guys are taking it the wrong comparison. It is the original 1950s Formica tub that somebody then put in a bath fitting on top of the entire shower stall.
Look, all I'm saying is that it's
You're gonna have to take a
mighty.
lot down to get to that tile, y'all.
It is mighty bold of you to assume this land was cursed before I got here.
What did you
So-
do?
Absolutely nothing.
I didn't do
actually.
nothing.
So, is there anything else anyone would like to do this evening of July 29th,
See how
19th?
nosy we are? You brought us over for TV, and I'm snooping on your property. This is how.
I know. Don't think I don't know you're out there. Doing your magic mumbo jumbo out there. You're lucky you're my friend, Jae Hyun Kwan.
You're also out of earshot of the wind chimes, so also be happy that you're not getting that consecration from that
Be
side.
very happy you don't hear the wind chimes.
There's a reason
Uh,
we only have music playing equipment in the house.
Magically protected. You touch it, it's hard. It's hard to break down.
Let's be fair. It's been enough time. Part of the wind chime has grown into the tree. There is no removing it.
There now. It's part of the
Yeah,
I
tree.
would like
yeah.
I would like to pick up what I borrowed and head over to the Ardeline house and
Mm.
You probably
knock.
get back from the soda fountain, you know?
I mean, you're not staying out that late.
No. Respectable hours and all that, you know.
And
Just in time to light the tiki torches.
Yeah, other people have curfews. I mean, I don't, but other people do.
some of them, the days are starting. I mean, what?
What?
I go and I'm about to knock on the door when I see Opal and her brother coming up, and I'll say, "Oh well, fancy meeting you guys out here. Y'all are out a little late."
Yeah, we went down to the soda fountain to, you know, mingle.
Oh, I guess you are getting to that age. And I'm assuming your brother here also got some mingling on.
She gives a slightly exasperated look. He goes, bless his heart, he tried.
They grow into it eventually.
Well, sometimes every family has one. Just overhearing, sliding the tiki torches.
I
it's
think
like, I
Oliver
would
just
like,
rolls his eyes and goes inside and like, whatever.
It's like, I would like to thank you kindly for let me borrow your shovel.
Oh, sure, did work out good for you?
Oh yeah, it worked perfectly. Best shovel
Oh,
I've ever
good.
used.
You know, we try to carry good quality yard tools and equipment, you know.
Yeah, I noticed it. You guys have a whole collection going on back there.
A lot of different shovels for a lot of different, you know, uses. My family doesn't believe in you know, multitaskers doing all that well, so there's always a place for the unitasker when it comes to lawn equipment.
Of course, and there's a lot of people in the house. I have to assume everyone has their own shovel, I guess.
Pretty much.
And I hand you over the shovel. It's like, I'm sorry,
Thank
it's
you.
still a little dirty.
Oh,
But
it's no bother at all. It's a shovel. It's meant for digging in the dirt, so.
fair enough. Well, it was nice seeing you. Thank you so much for the shovel.
Yeah.
And if you'll need anything,
Anytime.
you know, if you need anything, we're just down the road.
All right, that's good to know. It's and I think I'll be like like this like the house with the blue shutters, right? You know, something like that. Look at whatever your house is.
It's like, well, we had to take down the shutters after last hurricane season, but
Oh,
we're getting some new ones. Gonna put up some
Good, that-
wide
I'm sure they'll
shutters
look
here this
great.
summer.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I
If you ever
sure
need
think
any
so.
gardening tips, you know, we got a lot of them.
Oh, let Linda know. She's the one who gardens. She won't let me close to the garden.
some people just aren't meant for it, and
Yeah,
that's
some people
okay.
got, and bless her heart, that's why I got my wife.
And she kind of looks like, oh, that's so sweet. Like, what a great love story. Like a moment, but doesn't say anything. It's just like, that makes me real glad to know that you two are getting on so well.
Oh yeah, we've been together. Oh man, coming up on I think 15 years.
Wow, that long already.
Aw.
Y'all don't look like you've been together. I mean, you just don't look old enough to have been together for like 15 years.
Oh, it's those good genes, We both come from good families.
You know, yep, that's got to be it. My family's
Yeah.
got pretty good genes as well, I hear. So hopefully that means no gray hairs for me for quite some time.
I don't know. I think they make people look distinguished.
And she mutters something like, "No, gentlemen, maybe," and like, just mutters.
And it's like, well, have a good night, Miss
Yeah, good night,
Ardeline.
Mr. Walters. And I'll go
Head
put the
back.
shovel back in the shed.
And I think that's where we're going to let the evening close at the moment. As some things were discovered, some things were
Mr.
happening.
Walters is so nice.
Mr. Walters is indeed very nice, and we have a lot of things that we're going to have to do in our little upkeep section here at the end. Which is
I have a
why
question.
Yes.
It has been 3 years. I just wanted to know what the general news in the neighborhood was about how the HOA, the country club, and the PTA have been running in the last 3 years. I just kind of want to know the state of the community.
The state of the community. I mean, it's been very interesting that so many new people moving in and so many new properties being bought up, and like I said, the Lafayette's actually had some challenges from some other side of the subdivision. There's a growing divide happening. It's subtle, mostly between those who might attend a certain Baptist church and the first congregation. And excuse me, there's the Baptist church group, and then there's another group that's also moved in recently who all attend the First Church of Christ. They're very vocal. And then there's others who are supporting, again, the Apostes and the Fouchés, who are very involved in the AME. And it was a shock and a scandal that a Catholic family moved in down the street. Oh, and the Kit Eldridge got into a little bit of a no, wait, hold on, I misspoke.
Oomst.
Oh yes. So the Sycamores were talking to a couple of their cousins who are seeking to working in their botanical gardens. There was some. Well, no one had actually been so unpleasant as to actually say anything because their family had come from. Someone had made a comment that they were very uncouth and were obviously imbibing just a bit too much in public, and had said something about that individual's family being German, to which the individuals of the Sycamores had to say that no, their family was not German, their family was Jewish. And it has since been, in the last couple of years, a couple more members of those relatives had moved after the war of the Jewish variety into supporting the Sycamores botanical gardens. And very supportive there. The HOA itself is pretty balanced. The owners of the the investment people and the people who are selling the property have been encouraging and open about their marketing to any and everyone. and they mean it. And in fact, they've been given some home loans, well, because they know some people at the bank that might perhaps not necessarily have gotten them based on some policies that FDR had put on place about 8 years ago. Don't bless his soul. So there's been some purchasing, and in going with this is there's been a interesting rise in the fact that this is the first desegregated neighborhood in Savannah. But as for the country club, that is firmly, very, very, very much firmly in the hands of, hold please. I know I said it early. Yeah, the country is firmly in the hands of the Apasses and the Fouchés. Anastasia Fouché's Ladies Book Club is the place where ladies of consequence gather. And one must be invited to attend the book club. And I'm blanking on what's her name. Apasse. Adesina Apasse's cooking club, supper club. That's the word I was looking for. Supper club is expanding outward. Dr. Brian Fouché, the chemist, you remember, he has been well seen with certain other people involved very heavily in the. He is very particular about his 8 a.m. tea time every Saturday morning, like clockwork. And then you can find him at 1 p.m. sitting in the club with a dirty martini. Just the one, though.
Are there tracks? I mean that in the sense that I know that myself and the Quans are not particularly extravagantly wealthy. I know my not actual neighbor, but comrade, the Walters are not extravagantly wealthy. I know that those who are right there on Forest Court have quite a bit of money. I'm just sort of wondering about the economic patterns of, or is it that everyone's house looks very nice and you cannot tell what anybody's economic status is?
It's 1948. No one here is inherently trashy. Or would be as so uncouth to be as publicly. Well, I mean, it's a subdivision. You're not living in the middle of nowhere in the country. You put effort into being seen to be at least. Well, you could afford to buy a house. Or at least everybody is believed to have been able to afford to buy the house. Nobody really knows if anybody's actually renting. Nobody's been saying anything about that. But to the current extent, everybody who's living in the property and in this subdivision, across the entire subdivision, has bought their house. Some of them on the GI Bill, and have been kind of public about that. Like the Daniel Grimes is very public about the fact that he supported the GI Bill. It let him buy this house for him and his brand new wife Hazel and their little daughter. And Kit Eldridge, although he did not need the GI Bill to buy his house, the family is, well, the Eldridges mostly on Tybee for the most part, in their shipping. But some other, like the Hampsteads that are across the street from on Plot 17, they again, he bought his house with the GI Bill, and there are a number of others that you of the more colorful persuasion that were given smaller loans directly through the banks as the owners of this, the developers of this property, granted.
Well, I will just continue to watch the lines to see who's on which side of which line later. Thank you.
There isn't a line as of yet, at least not one that's been developed. As in, there isn't a division in the visible division of property and who's living on what side of the street or anything like that. The most obvious line is in what church folk are going to.
I'm just paying attention to what sort of metaphorical lines might be developing here or there. And I know that you think the only line might be based on who goes to which church, but it's not quite how I see it.
Oh, metaphorical lines? Now, those are complicated. So many of them.
I'm just paying attention to all the metaphorical lines. Never know when you might need to know who's on which side of which.
That leads me to a couple questions I need to ask as we kind of dive into our post-game maintenance and house fortune rolls. And again, reminder that we're going to roll wealth first so that you can add that to your house fortunes if you need to. Y'all are going to need to keep track of your own pluses or minuses for house fortunes. I would like everybody to roll a reputation. Status reputation, please. And you may use your bonus
characters
dice. Yes, your characters.
Yep. I will use those
I will use
bonus
both
dice.
of mine. Yeah.
I'll use one. Oh yeah, I'll use that last one. Sure, why not?
And again, they do not refresh, so
Use them now.
Yeah, I
Is this the
guess.
last place to use them?
yeah, because you can't use your
Use them on house fortune rolls.
Meh.
yeah.
Okay. Damn, holy
So
No, that's impossible. I'm sorry. That was a wrong roll. That was a mistake.
holy
Because I have a -2 on my rolls. Forgive me. I have to do this by hand. One moment.
yeah.
A lot
for
of
some reason
sixes,
it didn't-
PB.
I mean, I used all my
1.
bonus dice.
I mean that's
It's fair.
So you got a you got a 2.
A 1.
You got a
Whoa.
2.
No, I have a 1
oh no.
Why?
because I only have.
Oh yeah, you have
I roll
dice,
1d6. I only can roll 1d6.
Oh, okay. But you do have 3 bonus dice if you wanted to roll them, and so does PB.
Nope.
Okay, because
I
you're
do
not going to
not.
use them. Then you don't get to use them to this week.
I am an outcast. I do not think it would make sense to be using those bonus dice on my reputation roll.
That's entirely fair. I'm just letting you know that they existed. Okay. They are now gone for you for this week then. PB, you have 3 bonus
Yes.
dice. Did you use any of them?
I used all of them.
Oh, you did use all of them.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hope, did you use any of them?
Yes, I used the 2.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you used... So everybody used their dice. Yay! Dice
Yay.
use, except... All right. In that case, with a 22 reputation,
Yeah.
hey, guess what?
What?
PB, you're gonna get
Mhm.
2 bonus dice to use on your house fortunes roll.
TV
Yay.
worked. TV worked.
Or you're gonna get 2. I should say actually they're bonus dice, so you can roll them
Mhm.
higher.
Okay.
And but we're gonna do wealth first. So let's see, 22. Opal got a 14. Mercer got a 17. And Jaehoon gets a 10. All right. So if you rolled above a 15, you get 1 bonus dice. If you roll above a 10, it's no bonus dice. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Or it's 1 bonus dice. Sorry. 10 is 1. Right? Did I do that right? No. I did it was right the first time. Above a
Okay,
15 is 1. 2 above 20 And it's 10, 15, 20. 10, there's no penalty. 15, it's +1. 20, it's +2.
Okay.
Sorry, there we go. All right, so
Take
those
it.
would,
I'll take no penalty.
if you rolled a 1, you have a penalty die on your house fortune.
Mm.
All right,
So it's wealth next.
it's wealth next.
Okay.
And then your wealth roll can apply to your house fortunes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Which numbers for the wealth roll? Because there's 2 in the column
yes.
for
And
wealth.
we are rolling.
I'm just curious. And also there's some wealth in land, so I wanted to see which are
Yes.
applicable.
So this is the thing. This is the thing we had the conversation about last week, and we figured out.
Yes, I
and
just
you
need to
weren't here, so
yeah, okay,
that's-
good.
okay.
Cool. Please explain to me.
So
I just
if
need
you
to know which ones I'm
have-
spending.
So if you have fertile land or an orchard
Mm-hmm.
in land, you automatically add +3 and a +2 to your wealth.
For each half acre, right? Or
Yes.
each orchard thing. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool.
Depending.
And what
remember,
about in the wealth column?
in the wealth column? If you have any of those particular investments,
Mm-hmm.
you the across the slash is you get the that value towards your both your. So if you,
To
for
both?
example, if you have a storefront, you get +1 to both wealth and a house fortune roll.
So, okay. So that makes sense for storefront. Same thing for like the mine cash crop trade. That's like wealth and fortune. Fine,
Yes,
fine.
wealth
And then
fortune. It just didn't write it there.
but banking would be 8 to house fortune, 2 to wealth.
Yes.
Okay, I was just curious because they're like flippity floppity.
Oh no,
so
no.
I wanted to make sure.
Sorry. You are correct in pointing that out. It should be 8 to wealth and 2 to house fortune.
2 to house fortune. Okie dokie.
instead of
I was
the Yeah.
curious. Thank you.
But we don't roll for wealth. We just get our number, right?
you just get the number added, right? So if like you have a banking,
Oh.
you add 8 to your wealth, which you can then
Mhm.
spend to invest,
Is it
+2
cumulative
to the
or
house
is it
fortune
per session?
Per
You're making
session.
the- Okay,
for every session.
that makes
So
it
like
easier.
Alright, so let
at
me
the-
Goodness.
so at the
calculate my
beginning,
wealth.
so you can during those in between sessions, you can choose to have more investments, right? Like you can
Okay, thank
choose to
goodness.
have.
Okay.
Okay, so I am. What am I at now? Did I break out?
So
of-
we
Did I break out of?
we get the total for wealth and then we roll for it.
6?
No, you roll for the house fortune. It's just
No,
your wealth. You're accruing the wealth and adding it to your wealth score
Oh.
to then possibly
Oh.
ask later. Or there are some maneuvers where you can wealth is the most fluid, where you can move those points to other points.
Yeah, you
So
can
you're
take-
saying that if I had like plus 33 wealth, that I would add that to my wealth
Yep.
score
Yes.
now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And then during the week, you can choose to invest those extra 33 wealth in other
Cool.
things. And you take the value of, say, that banking +2 to the house fortune roll that we're about to make.
Okay. I see now. Okie dokie. I would have done things
It
a
is-
little differently, but we're cool.
Yeah, it's.
cool.
I realized going through this multiple times that wealth is indeed the most complicated, and our friends at Modifius are very kind, and we love them, and we love Green Ronin Press a
Yes.
whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
But this was this is built
Not-
off the bones of a system that was meant for a very specific setting and then was readapted to be a general.
And is
Cool.
not the best explained in certain places.
There are sections of the book where it does make you kind of scratch your head as to the layout.
Yes, and wanting another editor. That's sadness. But Okay, so now if you have your modifiers,
I'm super wealthy then. I'm
Yes,
calculating
you
all
are.
my
You
wealth
are.
went from like 40 something to 70 something. So
Yes, because you can then invest that wealth in other things and then use that to also bolster things like reputation and influence later on.
you'll have to explain that to me later on after we do
Yeah.
this, because
Yeah, we'll
I
do
got
that.
wealth to spare right now.
We can
was like,
we can do that after
vampires got
stream and I'll
money.
explain exactly how this
Cool.
works.
Thank you. Let me
Alright, so
tally
now
up
that
my stuff then.
yes, so please
Do we
tell
also
everyone...
tally up the magic stuff in House Fortune, or is Magic Fortune separate?
No, everything is House Fortune unless
Okay.
it says otherwise.
Because it says Magic Fortune, so I just wanted to.
Yeah, I shortened it because it's
Oh,
the
Magic Fortune modifiers.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh.
Okay.
Don't
okay.
mind me. I'm just do me last. I'm adding my numbers.
Yeah, it was just easier to shorten some things. All right, so as you do your numbers and as you will hold them up, let's go with PB. Because you have 2 bonus dice to your 2d6. You're going to roll 4d6 and keep the 2 highest. And then add whatever that is to your modifier.
I'm sorry, I was typing a number before I forgot it. Could you say that again, please?
So you're going to take, because you got 2 bonus dice from your reputation roll, you're going to take
Mhm.
4d6 and keep the 2 highest and add that to your modifier.
Okay, 46. And then where's my roll 20? 46. And then I keep what?
You keep the 2 highest.
The 2 highest? Okay, roll 46. All right, so that 3 and the 5 for that 8.
Yes. So you get an 8, and then what's your plus or minus?
That's a great question. I was in the middle of doing that math. I'll quick math. It's okay. I can completely skip HOA. And info. That is 1, 2. Oh man, I love doing this. And then the
I opened the
plus
calculator. Just like,
7 minus reputation minus 10 reputation. No, yes, that's House Fortune. Minus 10 there.
You were at -4 the last time we did our calculations.
Yeah, we did your after
Yeah.
you did the change to what the Musgroves deeded you. You got to a
Mhm.
-4.
Okay, -4. Then we'll just go with that number. -4.
So it's a 4 in total.
So it's a 4. Yeah.
Which is a decline, not a curse or a disaster.
G Willikers, Batman. What's my
Yes.
minus?
So a decline is you shall reduce 1 resource by 1 point.
Okay. 1 resource by 1 point.
Yep. And you get, and so write down that you have a decline. You have 1 minus 1
Mhm.
resource to 1 point, and you get +3 to your next project roll for next week.
Okay.
Cool. All right. The Gwillem family. Dr. Blackthorn, would you like to make this roll? You get 1 bonus die for your, I believe, right?
Yeah, I feel uncomfortable. Because due to
Your amount of
better
money?
understanding, the number is bigger. The number
Yes.
got bigger.
Mhm.
I am so sorry. Okay. We'll just go with that number. So it's
10.
10 plus 55. So
Okay, so you get a
65.
boon.
Yeah,
You get a boon,
it hits the top of the chart.
which is the top of the chart, because it doesn't. You can't go that high.
Who says I can't?
I do.
Oh.
So you get to add a D6 to one of your houses, or a D3 to two houses resources. And
There
you
are
get to
things
add.
that are actually detrimental for me to add to.
Yes.
At
Yes, there
this
are.
point.
Which stats the Rose Garden Award? That's the one I want to add to if I get it. That's the.
I believe that's
That's-
the HOA.
That is
Alright,
the HOA.
Cool. We know what I'm putting points in if I get a boon.
Okay, that tells me where I'm putting mine. So we'll roll this D6 and put it into HOA. We're neighbors.
We're neighbors.
Yes. And you like each other
I'm gonna
most
get
of the
that
time.
garden.
I only got a butt.
Like we're neighbors. I might
All right.
be a
So
country club board officer.
Then the Quans get 2d6 and your modifier, right?
Yes.
Oh, and Dr. Blackthorn, don't forget to write down you get a +6 to your project roll next week.
Okay, we'll do that.
All right, I get a 17. I made some heavy investments magically and PT, like PT and HOA. Please.
Very nice.
My kids, I mean, my kids are finally in school, so. Oh, did you not?
25. 25 is growth.
Oh, nice.
So you get to add I think it's exactly the same thing we did last time. So growth is you get to add, you improve one resource by 1 point, and you get to add +4 to your project roll for next week.
Excellent. Oh yeah.
Musgroves.
Indeed. Let me roll this. This will be 3d6. Take the lowest two.
The highest two.
Lowest, I've got a penalty die.
Oh.
Oh, penalty die. That's correct. You have a penalty die.
So a 10 plus an 11, so that's 21.
A 21 is growth. You get to add +1 to one stat.
All right, then.
And that means you get to add a +4 to your project roll for next week.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there is a lot of bookkeeping in this game, and that's why we're doing it at the end of the session every week, so that we can make sure that we're all on the same page and that we're all together.
Mm-hmm. And I will ponder which one I want to add a point.
Yes, you do not have to decide at the moment. The charming Miss Ardeline.
Hi. It's 2d6 plus my bonuses to fortune.
Yeah.
Okay. 63.
You get a boon, which means you get a +6 to your project roll for next week, and you get to add either 1d6 to one stat or a d3 to two stats.
I'm a HOA, please and thank you. I'm gonna roll a d6. I want that Rose Garden Award. 2. Could have been better, but it could have been worse. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Could have
Take it.
indeed been worse.
It could have been a
Um,
one.
It could have been.
It could have been a one. We're neighbors.
We're neighbors.
Look, we're just gonna get a T-shirt that says "We're neighbors."
And we're
I'm
neighbors.
gonna add my one to magic, by the way. That's I
Okay.
just because we've been working on that for some time.
Can gardening awards be retroactively taken away?
I don't think so.
Because if someone uses kudzu, it's gonna they're just give it like 10 years. That's not gonna like, no, you'll get it. Your fault.
Well,
Y'all will find out. This leads to my next question. I do need to ask a very uncouth question for all y'all to consider.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you voting for in the election?
for which
The
Presidential.
presidential election.
oh, the presidential. I didn't know if this was about the country
no,
club
no.
or
The more important one is the presidential election. And
Look, I might
will
be a
actually-
country club board officer, but you know, it's like...
We will come back to the country club issue at a later time and place. The more important one right now is the presidential election. We have Harry S. Truman, the current vice president, being supported by FDR. He's got some very strong policies that he's trying to campaign on. The proposals for anti-American actions and some
That's
very
McCarthy.
no, that's Harry S. Truman.
That's also Truman. Okay.
Yeah, Truman. So, fun fact for those who, the reason, hold on. That McCarthy becomes so popular is in the 1948 is because of Truman, unfortunately. So Truman is, well, let's put it this way. He becomes a when he becomes president, he is when does it happen? It happens in 45. So in 1944, Henry Wallace, so in 1940, Henry Wallace was the vice president.
I am voting for Wallace, by the way, just in case you wanted.
By the way, he's an anti-segregationalist. He's pro-gender votes, and he is objects to the to communist rhetoric and the House Committee on American Affairs in general. He basically loses. Wallace eventually loses, basically because he's named in certain things, and people claim that he should have been testifying in front of the committee, and he just objects to it. How Truman, as the vice president, ends up in a position in 44 rather than continue to run with Wallace. Truman's a senator from Missouri, and the Democrats think that they need a Southern senator, so they tap Truman to run with Roosevelt. He pretty much runs some very interesting things, and it is him that talks about something that's the beginning of the House Committee on American Affairs. So, and he supports the Marshall Plan.
In more gamey stances, what are their stances on these others?
Yeah.
That's important.
So
for reasons.
Thomas E. Dewey is running as a Republican against the incumbent Democrats. Truman is a strong Democrat, but he's a very urban Democrat. He's He's also very pro-U.S. and slightly pro-isolationist in a way. Let's put it this way: MacArthur hates his ass and thinks that he was a horrible general and should never have been in charge of a military installation, and which is why he will run against him in the future. Dewey is a Republican. He's almost a nominally sacrificial candidate. He believes he could win when he realizes that there's a split in the Democratic Party between Truman, Strom Thurmond, who's a Dixiecrat and a very pro-Southern, pro-segregationalist, but also a true segregationalist. Strom Thurmond supports separate but equal. He's a very pro-planter. He's a very pro-farm person, even though he was never actually a farmer. Whatever. Strom Thurmond. He's a Dixiecrat.
Wallace was a farmer.
Wallace is a farmer. He was a farmer. He is pro. He is the one who is pro-other. He's the one who's most publicly pro-other. He is, again, anti-segregationalist. He's pro-gender equality. He's pro-national insurance. He's very forward in... he's basically runs on a progressive ticket, an actual... the political party progressive ticket, and a lot of comparisons were made to him to compare him to Teddy Roosevelt, not Franklin. And of the two who were more progressive, we're going to leave that with Teddy. Wallace is pro-union in a lot of ways, and he believes in what is the other thing that's really big for him?
Yeah, we're gonna vote for the pro-others candidate, and
Gonna get
rights for people and stuff. Yeah, that's what House Ardeline votes for.
It's gonna get real complicated when they find out he's a werewolf, and it's like we gotta.
Dude, my money is on that Teddy was a werewolf. That's not where my money is.
Wait. Yeah,
Teddy can't be a werewolf. Teddy was delightfully sickly.
Of course, he was a little
when he was a
sickly.
human.
He had the.
He was delightfully sickly in an urban environment.
Yeah, in an urban environment,
he gets sent into the West for his lungs and
bedridden
his breathing
during the full moons. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, to join
That's
the
all I'm
cabinet.
saying.
To join the cabinet, you must be one of the pack, though.
I just now I'm
The Rough
thinking
Riders
of,
it's just
but
a
because of
werewolf pack.
Teddy's rhetoric, I don't think of him as a werewolf. Think of him as a weremoose.
That's more dangerous. That's a very.
That is-
big-
that is
You
more
know what?
dangerous.
It's way more dangerous. I agree.
Way more dangerous. Yeah.
It's
I
what he would want.
Just like megafauna.
Charismatic megafauna.
Yeah, charismatic.
Charismatic.
It's the
We will
scientific
find out
genome.
about that. We'll find out something about that. But okay, so what I'm hearing is a lot of support for Wallace.
Yeah. Yep.
Mhm.
Well, he's a
And,
farmer, and Mr. Robeson supports him, and Mrs. Robeson has politics that I agree with.
and so does Pat Seeger.
Mhm.
Others.
That's right.
And women and equality and shit.
The Weavers
Yeah,
and the
he,
Seegers and the Robesons
And
all support him.
democracy and forums and stuff. Yeah. Woo.
Yeah, he also is. It doesn't exist yet, but the reason he really truly loses, beyond the fact that he was a progressive third-party candidate and probably didn't get any support from anybody, was because he was very public about his objection to the House Un-American Affairs Committee, to the point that he charged that they were violating civil liberties and tried to bring them up on charges. It didn't work.
Yes.
No, no.
Although I didn't think HUAC was made yet.
No, it is. HUAC comes into existence in that's the point that in your reality it doesn't exist yet, because Truman never became president so far.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it became a standing committee in 45.
Yes.
Mhm.
With the support of Harry S. Truman.
Okay. So, the family votes as a block.
Like you do.
Again, we respect our elders, and if they say we're voting this way, we're voting this way.
Same for the Ardeline family. Wow, we're so have so much in common, and we're neighbors.
And Kimberly and Zachariah said Wallace, so we are voting Wallace.
All right. So we're I'm hearing lots of support for Wallace. It'll be very interesting to see what happens. We've already changed some history. We'll find out.
If Wallace doesn't win, I think Dante may be paying a visit to DC, and I'm concerned.
We'll find out.
Concerned. Yeah.
So why don't we go around, let everybody share some love where we can find you, and I feel that I have to ask one last question that you can share. Is there are your is there going to be any change in your character's family relationship dynamic? Are they dating anyone? Are they going to try and get married? Are they going to try and have any children? Any of those things in the next 4 years, because we're going to jump to 1952 when we come back. So, why don't we start with Trooper?
Hello, I'm Trooper SJP, and I've been playing Peter Musgrove, who believes in sharing, humility, and humbleness, and does not like McCarthy. And my children are currently 10, so when we get back, they'll be 14. So they will not be married anyone. None of that. And I'm already married, so I'm not, there's gonna be no dating or anything like that on my end. Just gonna be seeing, where the working people might be. Just looking out for them as one would do. Find out where the working people congregate. And those who are against war and such like. You can find me, first, no, I'm going to give love. I want to give love to the shovels. I think the odd leads know what that's all about. And whatever might be buried with those shovels.
Lots of fertilizer, that's all.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's what I was implying.
Organic, natural fertilizer.
I want to give love to Dr. Mercer Blackthorn for his offering help to the Walters in a way that seems very, very threatening and creepy. Like, you need help? I know someone. Go downtown. Speak to Zachariah. Knock once. It just felt a little clandestine, is all. Whenever somebody gives you help and you feel like, oh, is this some sort of something illegal? I enjoy that. I want to give also love to Ro Walters for his very thoughtful advice on marital harmony to his good friend in the Grimeses. And I want to give also love to my good friend Jay Hume for being late to the Olympic ceremony and not even realizing that perhaps it has been missed, because somebody works very hard and does not realize that actually know that there's a whole thing. But it was that bit of characterization I want to give love to. You can find me, what is this? Today is Sunday. You can find me tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Eastern over at the Wanderings DMs channel on the Twitch, alongside Prax and also Pope, when we are vampires. Too many vampires, just having a lovely time having tea. And then on Tuesday, that is Montreal by Night, Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, you can find me on my channel, Trooper SJP, for Motor City Hollow Crown, which is my Vampire the Masquerade 8-shot set in Detroit in 1973. And then Friday, 7 p.m., also on my channel. You can find me there for The Gamblers, which is my Traveler Pirates of Drynex campaign. And those are the RPGs you can find me in. And thank you.
Indeed. Well, follow Trooper because he is wonderful and fabulous. And then next up, the wonderfully fabulous Lynn and the Kwan family, who's finding some things out.
Yeah.
Doing some research.
Snooping around. Nothing bad happens when you snoop around, ever.
Nope.
But yeah, I think the quants are gonna kind of stay the same. The kids are gonna be like one of them's gonna be a teenager, so that's gonna probably be even more stressful. So they're actually of age to be on the PT for us to be on the PTA, so that should be interesting as well. But yeah, as far as I look to Dr. Blackthorn for the influence semi-3. Helpful, maybe. We'll see. Hopeful for just trying to socialize and living out the nightmare of like, oh, you live in a young family neighborhood. It's like there's nobody. Like you have to go to another neighborhood too. You have to go
Yeah.
farther away. Yeah, the row for vigorously defending the property that I've snooped on and may have called a curse blessing sandwich. And for looking up for the trying to organize. I appreciate the organization for trying to get everybody the working men and women on equal grounds. We'll see where that goes. We can create a PTA block at least.
You can indeed.
But yeah, you can
We might also be able to create a party, a workers' party of comrades.
It's gonna go real well. This will nothing will this can positive features. Absolutely. 1952. Fun.
That is correct. A working party of the working men and women and all those of different gender types and who want to be comrades together and who do not necessarily appreciate the oppression and not like the alienation from labor.
It's gonna be hard to defend it when the head of the party is like a ghost or something. It's gonna be.
Look, I'm just saying, another event that happened in real life that didn't happen in this game because Truman never became president in 44, is Truman's response to the threat for a railroad strike.
Oh, yeah.
If you think that Democrats are all pro-union, let me just tell you that when the President of the United States decides that he's going to draft the entire members of the railroad union to prevent them from striking and therefore make them members of the army without any rights, because let me tell you, the military doesn't have any. At least not in those kind of ways. Yeah, he's really not popular with the unions. But then we get I think we're just wait, then it's PB. Oh, where can we find you, Lynn? Sorry.
You can find me on Gremlin Art pretty much everywhere. And you can find my art there, and you can also see me on Saturdays for Silent Birth New Gods on Water DM, where we are getting close to the end of our godling journey, and our characters still kind of don't know what they're doing, which is a lot of fun. There's a similar line of thought where my character is good, but there's a lot of terrible consequences that come with good. I have this poor feeling for Jaehoon that being a good character is going to not be good for everyone else.
That is good. And then next up, Pope.
Hey everybody, Pope here. Pope Worldbuilder on Twitter, Pope Worldbuilder on Twitch. I look in all your streams. First business, then pleasure. If you want to see this silly face, yes, tune in over at Wandering DM, 8:30 p.m. tomorrow for more Montreal by Night, where there's a very strange individual, a friend that Dixon has made. And that friend has a girlfriend who seems to be mysterious and possibly dangerous. So we'll see how things play out then. And then, of course, be back here for more of this. It is a delight, as always, Lindy. I love that we're neighbors. And that, yes, there's a lot of things in these people's garages, surprisingly a lot of mechanics tools. And then,
Look, having the right tool for the job is very important, which is why we have so many shovels. Sometimes you need to dig around tree roots. Sometimes you have to dig narrow lines. Sometimes you have to move a lot of dirt. It's just lots of
Redundancy is definitely something that the family believes in. Speaking of redundancy, now we have people who actually have families. It was absolutely delightful to see this sort of familial pod get together being brought in by Roe with, and also just exploring the time period. Like someone having a TV in the neighborhood was an event, and for special things, it was a regular thing for folks to open their homes to have viewing parties, and to actually have that in Dave is actually really special. And also to have that insight in, like, while things may be magical, there were a lot of folks that were on the lower end that one family member had an education and were doing teaching at home whenever there was a chance. We got to see that with the Quans, and how important that was, especially at that time. And so much so that it delayed something that was going to be a neighborhood event. So just getting all that beautiful slice of life, getting to just glance at the Musgroves and whatever it is that they're up to. There's something there. I don't know what it is. It gnaws at me. So yeah, no, tune in next week to see what all these people have in store and what changes to the timeline Prax has made. Because I have a feeling the next one's going to be a doozy. We're jumping decades, folks. Don't miss it. And thank you all for being here. We're live on YouTube Stories Nothing Without Its Audience. You're much part of this as we are. Take care of yourselves and one another. See you soon.
Indeed. Lots of things are changing. Like me going back and looking at my notes going, technically the Cold War isn't really happening. And communism isn't the great evil at the moment yet, mostly because a Rakshasa, well, not a Rakshasa, what's her name?
A rock lobster.
No,
Rock
no,
lobster.
but thank you. What is she called? Not Baba Yaga. A Rusalka emerges from the Russian countryside to take revenge on the Soviet officer who murdered her. She becomes a focus of a women's revolution in the USSR and leads to the downfall of Stalin and the creation of the Federation of the Slavic States. Little is known after 1947, when the borders of the Russian Federation mysteriously vanish to all but the authorized ambassadors. Literally, the mists have fallen on Eastern Europe and nobody knows what's going on.
Sounds
But
like
that
they
drives
have
the
their
head of
own
my
Cold
household
War.
crazy.
It,
How's Romania doing? Do we know about Romania?
No.
we are not poking at that fog, just as like we're not poking.
No,
Lot
no,
The
it's
fog
just
is
that,
there
you
for a reason.
know,
The fog is there for a reason.
Family generational we've got family that goes back to Romania, so just curious as to how the old home country is doing. I basically, if it isn't fog or not, I'd love to know, because
We'll find out.
reasons. Okay.
This happened in 1947 and still a lot is unknown. So the fall of the Russian everything that was part of the USSR as of 1947
I'm
still part of
sorry.
The Olympics are way different than
The Olympics are way different. Also, if Stalin, so Chernobyl's not going to be a thing.
No.
We don't know.
I mean, we don't know.
I mean,
It might be happening right now. We have no idea.
Chernobyl doesn't happen for a couple decades. The
Yeah,
existence
but
of
We don't know
we're on
that.
we
They could be
on
doing
fast
anything in
forward,
that
yeah,
mist.
yeah.
the more important question is right now the Soviets don't have the bomb.
But
No one
with
knows
the
what-
fog, do they need a bomb?
Do they need the fog? No one sees through the fog.
Have they already put someone on the moon?
We don't know.
Just teleport to the moon.
The mist curtain, the iron fog, yeah. But these are things that I thought about when we were originally creating the world, and yes, that is a thing that happened. Hey, PB.
Hello. Hi, I'm PP from @PPBladesInside, where you can find me over on Twitter and Twitch. Coming up on Monday, tomorrow, in the evening, I will be with my friend Leon from Leon Fox Tales, and we're going to be trucking. We're going to be playing some American Trucking Simulator. And that's always a good time because really, honestly, it's just like me and Leon just hang out for like 3 hours while we drive a truck, an 18-wheeler, kind of extremely recklessly through the country. So if that's of any interest to you, make sure to stop by. Then on Tuesday, and for, I'm assuming, several days after Tuesday, my friend Nilly Online and I will be doing our duo Grandmaster Challenge over in Destiny 2. This week is a new Grandmaster. We have played like the super easy version of it, so I'm excited to see how they ramped it up to make it to the highest difficulty of Grandmaster. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I've been coming up with some wild ideas for that Grandmaster. And yeah, aside from that, you can find me here on Sundays. And aside from that, I just love that Jaehyun just was just like, that plot of land that my friend Ro has spoken about a few times, that's cursed. Let me go see if it's cursed. Oh, it is cursed. Wow, it's also consecrated. Interesting.
Not
and
cursed,
then
just hurt and consecrated.
Damaged
you know.
and consecrated. It's the name of my next metal album.
Maybe more worrying, the curse is scarred land.
Scarred land. When once was cursed. And let's see. I love just like finding out what's happening with the rich people in this cul-de-sac. So finding out that Pope, or his family was building like an extension as like a VA in the thing was pretty cool. I'm like, oh, look at you giving back. Look at you at not being a terrible, awful capitalist. I appreciate that. And then looking over at outside of the game, finally seeing Lindy, what Lindy's plus was going to be, because that was a big question last week. And I cannot believe it's larger than Pope's. Lindy does not even have to roll. So it is aside from that, yeah, just everyone did a great job. It was a great session. You guys are great. Also, Team Shovel.
So is there going to be any change in your family setup, family dynamic, births, deaths,
Look,
marriages?
we're always trying to have kids, but my people score ain't that high. So, we're just not having it. It's just not happening. And my wife and I still go out and do our thing on the weekends. And we don't try and have kids out there. So.
And by do your thing, find antiques. That's what you mean, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, in the daytime, that's what you do.
Keys in the fishbowl.
Yeah, that's all you do. When you go off away from the community where we don't know what you're doing, the only thing you're doing is looking for antiques.
Yeah, and having some leisure time. We work hard during the week. It's a lot of hard work, working, the fields and then the pawn shop. So,
and when the 50s roll around, there's more industrial conventions that pop up all over.
Exactly. Yeah. A lot more people we get to meet. We love meeting people.
For antiques.
Antiques.
And just to get to know people, be friendly.
That's all I wanted to know.
Hey, Lindy.
Hey.
How are you?
Oh, I'm doing swell. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give my love first. I have love for just the mental image of "and they were neighbors" with like Opal just reading on the front porch, like, "You sure you don't need help, Dr. Blackthorn?" And he's just like, "Nope." Just working on the car. Like, way too many tools in the garage. We've got way too many shovels in the shed. and it's just like this they're on good terms, but they also like respect each other's space, and I'm just so here for it. I'm just so excited. I really enjoyed the like, oh, everybody gather around the TV to watch the Olympics. Oh, well, we're late. It's okay, but we still made it. So cut me into the bridge, game or whatever. It was a very fun little dynamic of like, what do you think about this? Oh, what about that? What's going on in the neighborhood? What do you think those rich people are up to? Nothing much. If you just looked up the street, we just just working on our car, reading books, eating ambrosia. It's fine. Don't worry about us. I mean, our biggest beef is that rose competition every year. So I mean, honestly, you're probably okay.
Yeah, until somebody dies, and when you find their body, there's like rose thorns around their neck, and you're like,
no. Like, we very carefully maintenance our gardens so that if any corpses were to be in there, they would not be found. But that's just good yard maintenance. So yeah, I'm just I also have love for charismatic megafauna. That's my new favorite phrase of the week. I'm gonna have to find a way to use that somehow in regular conversation just to see what people do, because that's amazing. Yeah, I loved the two different, like, we've almost got two little different dynamics, yet they intermingle. And like the Walters family seems so nice. Opal's like, wow, this neighborhood's great. Just wish they had more people my age, because I want to find love. But as far as that track goes, I don't think Opal or Oliver would be married 4 years from now, because the family likes to take things slow and evaluate. I do think perhaps Opal's had a couple boyfriends, maybe seeing somebody.
How many of them went missing?
None of them. That would be too auspicious. I mean, why would something happen to them?
Why would they?
So I think that's the answer. I think Opal's trying real hard, but I don't think anything's happened yet. And then you can find me online at Laugh Love Lindy, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, etc. Let's see, let me just go through the week. We don't have Stargate this week because it's every other week, but we will have tomorrow night our Mondays in Exandria, the new batch game. We are making trouble in Maquette. We've been given free reign in a desert city, and I mean that very loosely. It's gonna be, we're looking for information, and Lord only knows how we're gonna find it with our group of people. And then on Wednesday is the very exciting premiere of my new Call of Cthulhu game, Wintercroft Investigations. It's going to be a series of solo adventures, one-on-ones, me and an investigator, which will lead up to all the investigators coming together after the end of the solo sessions for a long-term Cthulhu campaign. So we will have Lark Loria on my channel this week for our first session at 8 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday. So I'm very excited about that. I'm like so excited. This is like a 3-year project in the making, and it's finally coming together. So yes. And then finally this week I am guesting on Trooper's channel on Friday for Traveler, because they're trying to recruit me for some weird circus. I don't know. It's weird. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
We will indeed.
And here, of course, next Sunday.
Yes, of course, back here next Sunday, where we will jump into 1952. Lots of things will change between 1948 and 1952. And I have a lot of work to do behind the scenes. I will post on YouTube, and I'm going to try and figure out how to make, or on I will post on Twitter a poll for the presidential election. And I'm going to try and figure out how to do the same thing on YouTube. Fingers crossed I understand it. I make no promises. But this, or if you missed out on any of the action either last week or as I was building this campaign, any of the builds, hey, guess what? There's a YouTube. You can check it out over there. I'd really like it if you could follow, subscribe, like, share, do all of those things. And if you watch any of the videos, please just drop a like on them. It really does help. and given the fact that YouTube exists and I want to not be killed by a bunch of horrible, evil haters, just drop a like is great and makes life easy. You can also, if you want to support the channel, you can support us either with a Ko-Fi, which is, I have a goal up to add another camera. If you weren't here this week, I did an outdoor cooking stream. And I want to try and do a couple more of those kind of things outside and or around, and I need to invest in a little bit more hardware for the setup. If you also want to support, you can support us another way. We have merch from some of the older campaigns that we've done. Some of it's even out in the actual universe, and people have seen it in physical real life and can attest to whether it's good or not. And I have an idea for a new merch item that will definitely be going up from tonight's game, and I can't wait for you all to see it when I figure out how I'm going to make it work. But yes, that's a thing. And then again, you can always just like, share, subscribe, do all of those good things. Thank you for everybody being here. Thank you all of my wonderful, fabulous players for hanging out and playing and participating in this very artsy project that's we've got it going now, and we'll see how it keeps going and what we do and what we change. Also want to give another shout out and thank you to KY Hawkeye for those wonderful recordings for those fabulous adverts that you heard. And you will find me next at the Mani tomorrow over on Wandering DM with Pope and Trooper. And yet again, I would like to point out, hashtag not the Ravnos' fault. Nothing gone wrong in this city is the Ravnos' fault.
Or Folly's fault yet.
Or Folly's fault yet. Also, she may be very concerned about somebody and gone down into a sewer system to look for someone. And hopefully things are okay with them when she finds them. We'll find out. It'll be great. We'll find out next week. Or we'll find out tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. over on Wandering DM. You can also, again, probably do a couple pop-up streams during the week. We'll see what happens based on my schedule and based on all of the good things that are going to happen. You can follow me over on Twitter at DeirdreJoplin on Twitter, or on Instagram and Hive at PraxTheBard. I'm trying to make sure to remember to post more things over there as well, so everybody can be here and hang out and have fun with us all. And I think that's everything. At least for now. We are going to... Oh, no, nobody's up at the moment, unfortunately. So, instead, we'll just say goodnight. And we'll see you in 1952. Have a good night, everybody.